foreign girls wishing for my necklace. Got $100,000 on my checklist. All the money you made, that's my worst. You ain't learning. I be a new person. I be making money fast. They be so determined. I be working every day. Yeah, I'm up on my circuit. Get me another diamond chain, made it from the surface. I been hurting. Would you live with me? Straight till the end. Baby, don't leave my back. I'm too spent. This is what I got, yeah, it's how it been. But that's okay, cause I'm making them. Don't like me, well, I'm on the road. High speed, chase, that's what I love. Can't see what I can't control. Did it once, yeah, do it once again. Watch my father, yeah, he taught me how to win. Cop new Prada, money taught me how to spin. Waves like water, music taught me how to swim. I'ma fill my bottle way up to the rim.
Toss it all, ashes, yeah, let them bitches fall. I've been way better than before. Posted with my cash till it's all.
Wait, are you fucking kidding me, dude? Oh my god, you are such a pathetic piece of shit. Shame on you. Shame on you, you fucking liar. You fucking filth. You fucking absolute dog shit. You fucking piece of shit. You fucking garbage motherfucker. What a fucking liar. What a fucking measly little liar, dude. What a fucking measly little... Holy shit. What a fucking measly little liar, dude. Holy fucking shit, dude. Fuck you. You fucking piece of shit. You fucking garbage motherfucker. I cannot believe it. You fucking piece of garbage. You know these motherfuckers are such liars, dude. I despise these people so much. God, why are you such a fucking horrible monster, dude? Shame on you, and shame on your fucking parents for literally bringing to this world such pathetic, filthy spawn. You disgusting, vile piece of garbage. What a fucking liar. What a fucking measly little liar, dude. What a fucking measly little... Holy shit. What a fucking measly little liar, dude. Holy fucking shit, dude. Fuck you. Oh my god. Oh, this is disgusting. So fucking disgusting. What a pathetic worm, dude. Shit, dude. Fuck you, dude. Fuck you. Disgusting. You disgust me, dude. Hashtag my dick, dude. Lying for clout ass motherfucker, dude. What a fucking liar. What a fucking weaselly little liar, dude. What a fucking weaselly little... Holy shit. What a fucking weaselly little liar, dude. Holy fucking shit, dude. Fuck you. What a fucking liar. What a fucking weaselly little liar, dude. What a fucking weaselly little... Holy shit. What a fucking weaselly little liar, dude. Holy fucking shit, dude. Fuck you.
Do not come. Do not come.
Okay, this is the most disappointing video I've ever seen. She literally attacked the two things that I like.
They say, right. You say, blah, blah, blah. Talk is cheap, homie. Talk is cheap, homie. Blah, 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 blah. Can't be no one else but yourself. You the best at being yourself. Remember that and never doubt it. Stand up and leave your mark. Build your legacy. Make them words count. Live your fantasy. It's your life. Time to live it right. Show the world what you're all about. Let them haters hate. Let them doubters doubt. They don't really know what you all about. Let the talkers talk while you walk the walk. They don't really know what you all about. You only need yourself and the one and only. Even when you stand alone, you're never lonely. Take the path less travel. One day you reach your true level. Allow yourself to take your place on your space. It's your birthright. Let your work outshine the talk. Let them smile, light up the dark. Let them haters hate. Let them doubters doubt. They don't really know what you all about. Let the talkers talk while you walk the walk. They don't really know what you all about. They say, rock, rock, rock. You say, blah, blah, blah. Talk is cheap, homie. Talk is cheap, homie. Blah, 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 blah. Let them haters hate. Let them doubters doubt. They don't really know what you all about. Let the talkers talk while you walk the walk. They don't really know what you all about.
We aren't better because we want to be. Because the road to hell is paved with good intentions. All the do-gooders in the world, whether they're doing good for others or doing it for themselves, are troublemakers. We white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, British, German, American, have been on a rampage for the past 100 or more years to improve the world. We have given the benefits of our culture, our religion, our technology to everybody. And we have insisted that they receive the benefits of our culture, even our political style, our democracy. You had better be Democrat, or we'll shoot you. And having conferred these blessings all over the place, we wonder why everybody hates us. Because sometimes doing good to others, and even doing good to oneself, is amazingly destructive. Because it's full of conceit. How do you know what's good for other people? We can change society. We can get enormous enthusiasm going out of the idea that there is a revolution afoot, and that this revolution is going to set everything to right. Do you know a revolution that ever set anything to right? Whether the revolution came from the left wing or from the right wing. When we have a great system, great power to put it into effect, there is always more violence, more bloodshed, more trouble. Diabolical things are done in the name of righteousness. We don't change. We're doing the same thing today, but under different names. We can look back at those people and see how evil that was, but we can't see it in ourselves. So therefore, beware of virtue. We aren't better because we want to be. Because the road to hell is paved with good intentions. not virtue, and therefore really is virtue. But inferior virtue cannot let go of being virtue, and therefore is not virtue. All the do-gooders in the world, whether they're doing good for others or doing it for themselves, are troublemakers. We aren't better because we want to be.
Dojo, not again.
I'm trying to make my mama proud, yeah, that's for sure. Landed in the city, but my heart is on the coast. I don't wanna look back what my life was like before. I just took a red-eye penthouse, top floor. In the stew, I got a spazzo. Back up in my bag, get the rackets and I cash out. I've been running laps, I don't got time to relax now. I just took a chance, wasn't looking for no handouts. Oh, they like proud of how we do this. I've been with my brothers in the hills, we going stupid. I can't stop, I've been different, always knew this. Trying to turn them boardings into benches, needing blue strips.
Walking on the floor of this site, no one protects me. Wanna show shawty my heart, she wanna text me. All this love I felt was a curse, I wanna exit. Going crazy, all of my nerves, who does to check me? All this fun, baby, why you gotta leave me on? Had to drop a bag on her home when she gone. But I'm running when we click, yeah, they got me till I fall. Come paying it for bags, worth more than you love. Yeah, yeah. Feel my moment, yeah, yeah. I'm the chosen, yeah, yeah. I'm the one inside.
In the stew, I got a spazzo. Back up in my bag, get the rackets and I cash out. I've been running laps, I don't got time to relax now. I just took a chance, wasn't looking for no handouts. Oh, they like proud of how we do this. I've been with my brothers in the hills, we going stupid. I can't stop, I've been different, always knew this. Trying to turn them boardings into benches, needing blue strips. Oh,
Henny got me wasted. You done cut the Yola, I can taste it. Biting on my swag, you niggas pussy tryna trace it. I don't need your love, I took a perk and I replaced it. I'ma keep on going till my mama said I made it. Black and yellow, white, I got these different races. Did my dirt, I had a mask, I'm moving faceless. I got 12 plotting on me, but no cases. Running from my demons, lacing on my A6. I don't do that fake shit, nah. The way they treat me, they act like I'm feeling them. So I got a script, I was just trying to feel something. Now I'm alone, you don't care, and
in
I
the stew,
feel
I got a
numb.
spazzo. Back up in my bag, get the rackets and I cash out. I've been running laps, I don't got time to relax now. I just took a chance, wasn't looking for no handouts. Oh, they like proud of how we do this. I've been with my brothers in the hills, we going stupid. I can't stop, I've been different, always knew this. Trying to turn them boardings into benches, needing blue strips. Oh.
What a fucking liar, dude. What a fucking Weasley little liar, dude. What a fucking Weasley little liar, dude. Holy shit, dude. Holy fucking shit, dude. Literally lying. Still lying to his audience. What the fuck? Okay, that might be TOS. What the fuck?
Wait,
Okay.
is it?
I don't know, but that was.
You asked for this, sir.
I said, what's your favorite anime voice?
Don't like me, well I'm on the road. I speed, chase, that's what I love. Can't see what I can't control. Did it once, yeah, do it once again. Watch my father, yeah, he taught me how to win. Cop new product, money taught me how to spin. Waves like water, music taught me how to swim. I'ma fill my bottle way up to the brim. Back then, yeah, I never talked at all. Ashes, yeah, let them bitches fall. I've been way better than before. Posted with my cash standing tall. Hey, yo, watch this. Got a foreign gold switching for my necklace. Got $100,000 on my checklist. All the money you made, that's on worthless. You ain't learning. I be in person. I be making money fast. They be so determined. I be working every day. Yeah, I'm up on my circuit. Got me another diamond chain, made it from the surface. I been hurting. Would you live with me straight till the end? Baby, don't leave my back. I'm too spent. This is what I got, yeah, it's how it been. But that's okay, cause I'm making ends. Don't like me, well, I'm on the road. I speed, chase, that's what I love. Can't see what I can't control. Did it once, yeah, do it once again. Watch my father, yeah, he taught me how to win. Cop new product, money taught me how to spin. Waves like water, music taught me how to swim. I'ma fill my bottle way up to the brim.
Back then, yeah, I never talked at all. Ashes, yeah, let them bitches fall. I've been way better than before. Posted with my cash standing tall.
Screen it all. Just you and XQC.
Hi.
Actually, we'll call it 2 minutes. Okay?
Okay, I'm catching the end of Lover Host. I'm sorry. I just want to watch the end. I'm so invested now. I'm sorry.
Okay, ask one. I want to see how good you are questioning.
Okay. So, if we were to go on a date, where would you want to take me?
Probably something fun, something cool. If you want an actual date, like planned ahead, something like an experience. I don't know. Yeah, people are gonna cringe me out. Okay, something like bowling, perhaps, or perhaps like go-kart, laser tag. I don't know. I haven't been on dates in a while. Okay, or maybe we'll just like go out, play board games, something like that. Yeah, that's about it. That's about it.
There you go.
So, something fun. I mean, I'm on the spot right now, so I'm just thinking about like something that's like an activity that's both social, right, and engaging, but that isn't too engaging where we can't talk like a movie, right?
Yeah,
So-
I hate movies, so at least for dates.
Yeah. Anything, or Top Golf, the kind of fucking tank. I like that a lot.
I always do Top Golf. I love Top Golf.
Oh yeah, okay. Or mini putt. Okay.
Classic.
Okay. Okay, just say it. I'm not gonna judge you. No, don't say it. Convince me. Do you choose host or not?
I chose love.
Okay.
Cap.
Sure.
I'm positive.
Okay. Are you normally talkative, or sometimes you have to break it out of your shell and like go for it?
So I actually have severe social anxiety. So I am talkative, but I get really nervous sometimes, especially when I'm put on spot to answer questions. I get really nervous.
Okay. Okay. What do you see yourself in 5 years?
Fair.
Hopefully still dreaming or doing something in this like type of industry. It's so hard to say in 5 years because streaming and content is just constantly changing all the time. So you just never really know where you're gonna be in 5 years. You're 1 second away from being banned from a platform.
Is this a Kick advertisement?
Cancel
Sorry,
culture.
Never mind. Never
For
mind.
real.
Hey, I'm gonna extend the time.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. Keep going.
Oh shit.
Oh, okay. Are you a jealous person?
Not really. I used to be, but I'm a little older now, so I'm not as jealous anymore. Like I said, I have a flirty personality, and I'm okay with like my person flirting too, as long as it's not acted on.
Yeah. What about insecurity? Are you insecure, or are you confident in what you have?
I'm pretty confident in myself.
Do you have a strong sense of intrinsic value in yourself and what you have, or do you sometimes get like you fluctuate?
Can you repeat that? Do I have what?
Or do you have like a strong intrinsic value of yourself, like you know, like what you have intrinsic? You know what that is?
No, I'm not gonna lie. The
So
chat's
it's-
gonna
so-
dog me for it.
so it's like, let's say I have like I have a Twitter with a lot of followers or not. Like, does that matter compared to the value that I have? As, like, I know the value that I have. These things like followers or viewers or a bunch of other things that are perceived. These things matter a lot, or do I care more about what I have?
For me, I care more about what I have, but like when I'm streaming and stuff, yeah, I feel like everybody looks at their view count. Is that kind of what you're getting at? Like, I don't like get stressed about how many followers I have on Twitter or anything, or like I don't look at guys and be like, oh, that guy has a lot of followers, I like him, or you know.
Fair enough. What about okay, fair enough. Okay, cool. What motivates you more, fear or love?
Fear.
Okay, fair enough. At what percentage ratio?
I would say like
What
a 70-30.
ratio?
I would say fear
Good answer.
motivates me more because the fear of like failing. I would rather not fail.
Okay. When was your last boyfriend?
20 seconds left.
God, like 2019.
Why did it end?
It just wasn't working. We didn't get along.
Okay. How long did it last for?
Like 4 or 5 years.
Okay. Have you ever held a real job before?
Have I ever had a real job before?
Yeah, and
This
held
is
it?
a real job. What kind of real
What
job
the
do you
fuck?
mean? I worked at like Olive Garden before.
Next, and the segment.
It's done. All right.
And the segment. Oh
Ariel,
my God.
anything else? Last things you'd like to say to XQC before you go?
Nope,
Wait, has
that's it.
X had a real job?
Oh, okay. All right.
Wait, what did she say?
Thank you, Ariel. We're going to bring in Emily now. It's her turn. Thank you, Ariel. Sure you don't want to say anything else?
I don't think so. Should I be saying something else? He said next.
Okay.
I was just being playful.
she
You
said
can
no.
you can throw the ball back sometimes,
Okay.
you know. Well, sometimes there's not like life isn't like especially when it's something like this. It's not like a bricked blocked format where like you know the pieces are settled in and we all like move in tandem.
All right, X, she's not
Things
here
are
anymore.
Flexible.
It is now Emily. I'm going to give you 3 minutes to speak with X one-on-one.
Okay.
3 minutes.
Go
I
ahead.
thought it was 90 seconds. Wait.
Hi, X.
Hi.
So I was thinking of some cute date ideas that we could do together. So I'm thinking maybe we can go to like Universal and do all the rides and eat spaghetti. Because I know you like spaghetti, right?
Yeah, I like spaghetti, especially. I mean, mostly mama spaghetti. I don't think anything tops that, to be honest. So, why do you want to go to Disney? I mean, I think I've been to Disney a lot. Disney, Universal. I want to try something new. What do you want to do except for that?
Well, we can also go
Ooh,
to
he's not feeling it.
rather than Six Flags, maybe we can go to SeaWorld. Do you like animals like the orcas?
Yeah, it'd be kind of chill. I think they kind of mistreat the animals. I think something like that. I was reading about that, and it kind of makes me sad to see them maybe. But what do you think? What do you think about like going like a paintball, or maybe even going to like a laser tag and like going against like really like younger people and just absolutely rolling them and making
Yeah,
fun
I
of them?
want to punch all the kids. I think that's a good idea. And what's even better is we can stream it too. But trust me, I'm not a host because I know that you care about content. I care about content. And although I don't have big boobas, I do like to play games too. So we can play games together. So what are your favorite games that you like to do?
I mean, I play all the games. I like games a lot. There's a thing I've been playing a lot of. League off stream. I've been playing a lot of COD. I play a little bit of Valorant, a little bit of CS, a little bit of games like that. You
don't play Mario Kart together?
Oh yeah, I mean I'm too good at Mario Kart. You're probably not very good at it.
Yeah. There's actually one time we played Mario Kart together and you called me a rat fuck, and it was so beautiful. I really appreciated it.
Of course, yeah, I like that. That's very nice. Do you choose host or love? Just say it.
I chose
Good.
love.
You're probably not very good.
Did you?
Yes,
Okay,
I did.
X.
I did. I actually watched a bunch of your clips to study for the lover host yesterday, and I was like, "Wow, you're so funny!" And I like when you throw your feet on the tables. I like that.
Oh yeah, like that.
Yeah, you're so
it's not my
nimble.
desk. Yeah. Fuck, man. Nah, I think I already lost the. Yo. I think I already lost the show. To be honest, this is GG.
No.
Did you have a good time? Did you have a good time today?
I did have a good time, and I think you should choose me because I did choose love, and we could do really fun IRL streams together, and we can go eat tacos and make cooking stuff, and I think it's a good choice.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I'll probably still be streaming in 5 years. I'll be 29, and I don't know if I want to have kids yet, but I'll just be like
20 seconds.
Going crazy. But do you have any hesitations about me, X? I want to make sure I get them out of the way for your final decision.
Hesitations? Nah.
But yeah, I really like your crackhead energy, and I feel like it's like a
Time's
good
up.
balance.
Oh my god.
Okay.
What the
Last
fuck?
things you'd like to say, Emily? That's it?
What the
You're
fuck?
also-
I like
All right.
crackhead energy.
All right, let's throw me back on the screen here.
Wow.
Let's go to main. X.
Well, I'm phased. I don't even know anymore, to be honest.
X. First of all,
What?
before you make this final decision,
Yeah.
give yourself a pat on the back. Look at you. Look at him. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
What a king.
He's
long
gotten
way.
all the way to the end of this show. A marathon dating show.
The juicer.
I can't
Trump
believe.
was dead anyway.
Look, can I be honest, X? I spend 4 hours of time in life, and then I look at like how long this show takes, and I just can't believe it takes so long. And it's fun the entire time. So thank you very much.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you get lost in it. So
You get lost.
Bro, listen, I know, of course, that like we had a bunch of nice ladies, okay? And of course, everybody could say, oh yeah, but I meant it all. I could have sat there and just talked all day. I like rambling a lot.
You're good at it.
Oh, thanks, man. But I would have loved it. But I hope we get some sort of good ending. I'm stressed out. I'm
I know you're stressed out. Let's get refocused, okay? The show's called Lover Host. Let me reiterate what stakes are right here. If you choose somebody who chooses love, it's happily ever after at the Streamer Awards with Cutie Cinderella this coming Saturday. By the way, Cutie, could you please put me next to
It's this
Hassan? I
Saturday?
want to sit at
Damn.
his table. And Will, put us all there. I haven't had a chance to choose my seat. That's what's at stake here. If you choose somebody who chooses love, Streamer Awards, phenomenal. Host, it's the end of the road. You're going to the Streamer Awards with me. I'm your date. That's what's gonna happen. That's what could happen.
Kiss a homie.
Okay. This is hard. I feel like right now I'm gonna have it. The reason why I look unhappy isn't because of the choices that I made per se. It's just that I think it's too hard because I think they're both on an even playing field, but in different ways. Right? I think all the pros and cons add up. They all add up to like even, but not in the same ways, shape, or form. It's very much different in nature. So now I'm cooking in my head.
I have no idea what he's saying like most
feel?
of the time.
I feel it.
Like I got the
feel it.
words, but I don't
Also,
know what he means.
Apparently, Hassan's table was full at the Streamer Awards.
Yeah, I'm actually like I'm reacting in real time.
They can
like
always make space for more.
X, you and I are gonna sit together at the table wherever we go. I'm reacting in real time. That's very emotional experience. Anyway, we got to focus on Lover Host. Sorry, back to it. I know this is a tough decision, but one thing, if I could give you some advice, you have to get out of your head that both are host, because that could be the case. But you need to make the best decision regardless of that, because you could surprise yourself. Maybe they aren't host and you choose the person, right? You don't know that yet. You have no idea.
Yeah. Fuck. All right. I'm gonna get out of the mindset that both are hosts. I'm gonna get out of that. Well, yeah.
How did I?
Okay. I'm gonna leave you for a second to think, because you need to think.
No.
No?
I mean,
You want me to leave?
Okay.
He's so bad at
How
acting.
about, since there's only 2 left, I'm not inciting us to cook each other, okay? But maybe there's some things that I missed about both. I'm gonna start with Emily. why do you think it should be you? But most importantly, why do you think it should not be her?
Oh, wait, she's not in here right now. It's just you and me.
Let's do it then. Do it then.
Okay,
Do it then,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, you'd like to do that? Okay. So you would like to get them right next to each other?
Yeah.
Emily and Ariel? X has a couple of questions for you guys.
Okay, listen, it's too close and I have a problem. I feel like there may be something that I missed that you guys caught by each other, okay? I'm not trying to incite, but I feel like I'm missing a piece because it's too even. I'm gonna start with Emily. You can tell me why it should be you, right? And try to convince me, but it's very also even more important. You tell me why it should not be her. And then after that, I'll let the chance for Ariel to do the same.
Okay, I can go. Yeah, I'll go first. So I think it should be me because I think we could make really good, entertaining content together. Not just like the sex part, oh la ooh la la, but like on stream, I think because I did choose love, we could play a lot of games together and it would be really good. And I don't think you should choose Ariel because I don't know what kind of content she has besides hot tubs and pools, and I don't know if you want to be on that type of stream 24/7. So I think I offer like a lot of variety that you're looking for because you are a variety gamer.
Right, fair enough. It's computing. Ding 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 ding. Go ahead. What do you think about what you said? And go through your own segment, Ariel.
So I do other content besides just hot tubs, but however, hot tubs get the most views, so that's what I'm looking for when I'm doing my content. And I don't think Emily is a bad choice. I think she's very beautiful and extremely intelligent, but I think you and I make a better couple because I just feel like the chemistry is there for us compared to her.
Whoa, wait. Hold up. Please step back. Wait. Can you say that again, the last part? Did you say that I make a better pair with her than you?
No, I said you make a better pair with me because I feel like the chemistry is
Speak
there
closer into your mic,
better.
Ariel.
The chemistry is there better for you and I than for you and her.
Yeah, chemistry if you were in like a jail cell.
What?
Sorry.
Okay.
What does that mean?
All right. Okay. Well,
What does that mean?
like I said, I wasn't trying to spark any drama. It's just because I genuinely thought it's just too close because this is really hard. And people won't understand this, but a lot of it wasn't like one-dimensional. Like I think you both have your own stuff. At the end of the day, it all pieces together, but not in the same way, right? But it's about even on value, and I'm confused, and I feel like now I feel like I'm gonna make a bad choice. Now I
I
feel like I'm gonna make
chose
a bad
love.
choice.
You won't make a bad choice with me. I chose love.
Me
I
too,
think
I also
Emily
chose
chose
love.
host.
I
think
chose
she
love.
chose host.
I chose love for sure.
Okay, Austin, I think I made the choice.
All right, DM me.
Oh shit.
Let's go.
XQC has made his decision.
Dun dun dun. Drum roll.
Now, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to reveal the winner of Lover Host. After I reveal the winner of Lover Host, I will then reveal whether they chose Lover Host. So, it's not over when I reveal the winner. Does that make
The
sense?
drama. The drama.
Here we go. XQC, Lover Host. The winner of Lover Host featuring XQC. Tune in now, folks. This is what you've been waiting for. This moment. Right here, the winner of Lover Host. I'm stalling to allow people to tune in. I know they haven't watched the entire show, but they're coming right now. The winner of Lover Host.
Oh no.
Featuring XQC.
It's killing me. Austin. Shut up. Tell me.
Is.
Who is it?
Between Ariel and Emily.
Stop. Stop it.
The winner is.
Pause. Pause.
Extra Emily, you've won Lover House! Congratulations! Oh my God!
No, I think
I just can't handle it.
They are so cute.
Is the music playing in the background now?
Yes, there is. It's not awkward.
I feel like she chose host. Send it. Don't say anything.
Okay, well, first things
No.
first.
Is this DMCA? Uh-oh. Wait.
Congratulations, Emily. Round of applause. Everybody.
Please stop playing DMCA music. Oh,
Not over
God.
yet, folks. It's not over yet. It's not over. Because
Cut the music. God.
we need to reveal. No, just leave everybody here. Leave everybody here.
Can I explain first or not?
Yeah, explain. Please do.
Okay, listen. Here's the way it comes down to the wire. Okay.
Well,
Ariel told me that she was a little bit like more socially reserved because she has like social anxiety, whatever the fuck. I computed that, right? And with the format of this, I just thought that it would be unfair for a good showing and outgoingness in this format to lose to something that wasn't displayed on here. That's it. That was the mindset. That's about it. I think they both look fantastic. I think Ariel looks great, but when talking to all the contestants, I think Emily had a lot. Maybe it was her ability to talk on camera or talk on show. I had to reward that and let her make her win.
Thanks, X.
All right. Well, before the show began, Ariel had an opportunity to choose between love and host. And she chose.
What do you think I chose? What do you think I chose? Do you think I chose love or host?
I think. Okay. Here, you want an honest read or like a full honesty, or you just want to keep it simple?
Honest. Do you think I chose love or host?
Really? I genuinely think you chose love. People are gonna judge and say you chose host. Even though I glanced at the chat, I never put that into question because I think you're a thorough person and you're direct, and then your non-verbal is pretty sharp. That if you had chosen host, you would have done things slightly differently. And then I'm rambling, and then if you chose host, then I'm just gonna look stupid. But I still have to go with my core belief that I think you chose love.
Ariel had an option to choose between love and host, and she chose love.
Host. Who?
Ariel chose love.
Yeah, not surprising. Listen, if I had to put bet on it, I would have put like almost everything on it because I think I had a pretty good read about it. But yeah.
Ariel, thank you so much for joining us. You made it so far.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
It was a lot of fun.
Thanks,
It was nice meeting you. And,
Ariel,
good job making it all the way up here.
Ariel, please shout out your channel.
Twitch.tv/XOAriel. Check out my snip feed, ! Socials and chat.
Thank you, Ariel.
Thank you. Have a
We'll
good
see
one.
you soon.
Yes. Bye.
Okay. Bye now. All right.
Great choice, X. I love your formula.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. That's really nice.
Here we go.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna preface it. I think she chose host, and it's part of the reason why I chose it. But
Wait, you thought I chose host, so you actually chose me because you want to host?
oh yeah, well, I just want to see Austin's show channel die. So I just thought, I mean, if he could host you, he gets you get all this stuff and shit like that. We better exchange. That's kind of the mentality I had there. But yeah.
All right. Here we go.
I was just kidding. Please.
Emily. X, it sounds like you're trying to protect yourself in the event that she chose host. You don't want to, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's what I'm doing, yeah. Listen, I do that on stream as well, on my stream, where I play a game, I'll protect myself with like 8 layers
Yeah,
of
you're
like,
set.
well,
You're set.
if this happened, then I
didn't care. That's what I wanted to do, you know?
Yeah, whatever.
Okay. Here we go. XQC, lover host, extra Emily, the winner. We all know that. She had an opportunity to choose between love and host before the show began, and she chose.
Dude, damn near everyone chose. What?
Yo, give me the paper. Pass me the paper.
Oh my god. Almost everyone chose love.
Please. I'm on camera now, so it's obvious that I don't have a piece of paper in my hand. The winner of Lover Host Extra Emily chose. Now, if she chose love, you guys could be sitting together at the Stream Awards. For some reason, I can't sit next to Hassan, but you guys could sit next to each other. If she chose host, well, then you definitely don't want to sit next to each other. The winner of Lover Host, Extra Emily, chose
What?
Congratulations!
Yes, I even made you this cake. Do you like it?
Yeah, I like it a lot. Oh, you know what? I genuinely thought, if you went to go this much, maybe it was too much on purpose for host. But I'm proud of you and I root for you, and you didn't disappoint. So it's very nice.
Thanks for choosing me. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
of
do you
course.
want to play games sometimes? Like Minecraft?
Yeah, we can play games. Yeah, you got Minecraft though? I don't
Yeah.
want to play with noobs. Are you a noob at games or not?
Oh, I never played Minecraft before, so maybe not that game.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, it's okay. I'm a good teacher though. I can probably teach you certain things without backseat gaming. I'm a big backseat. I backseat game a lot though.
That's okay. You can backseat game all you want. I don't mind.
Oh, okay. Were you already going to Stream Awards or not?
Yeah,
Thumbs
I'm
up,
going
no.
already, so I'll probably see you there, and then
Yep.
I'll ask Cutie.
Yep.
So.
Congratulations, Emily! You're going to the Streamer
Yep.
Awards! Oh my
Yep.
god!
Oh my god, this is amazing! I can't wait!
This would be a new tradition. It'd be like, instead of like winning the Super Bowl, you go to Disney World. It's you've won Lover Host. You're going to the Streamer Awards.
Yay!
Yes! All right.
Yeah.
That was nice. Thanks for the invite. Thanks for everything.
Yeah.
Thanks for organizing everything and
Absolutely.
Also, everybody who showed up, people that got at the beginning. Thanks to all of them who came on. A big shout out to all of them, and a big shout out to Emily who went all the way to the top. And then I hope
God,
everybody
he
enjoyed
speaks
it.
so fast.
I hope the people at home had a good time watching it, and they're not too mauled at the choice or whatever. Maybe I went too analytical about it. But you know what? I don't give a fuck. I don't regret anything. The only thing I regret is even considering it. Their dumb opinion.
Ooh, you
Amazing.
tell him, X.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for XQC on Lover
I'm kidding. Love
Host.
you guys.
Amazing job. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you later. Everybody follow. You guys already follow XQC, obviously, and Extra Emily. Make sure you follow. Shout out your channel, Extra Emily.
Hi, I'm Extra Emily on Twitch. I do gaming and IRL, and I'm so happy and honored to have won. So thanks, X. Yeah, we gotta play games.
Yeah, listen. At the end of the day, you play like a winner, so you won. Boom.
Aw, shucks. It was great. I had a great time. Thank you, Austin.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. You guys are amazing. Fantastic.
Precious.
I'm going to talk to the chat real quick.
Adorable.
Just do a few more shout outs. Thank you guys so much. You guys are fucking amazing. And then I'll come say, yeah.
Yeah, big love. I'm out.
All right.
Take care.
Peace out.
Bye.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Okay. That was very cute. Very nice. I hope they live happily ever after. Very, very nice. There's a little bit of a surprise. I guess we can just get back into or start over video essays. Oh yeah, I didn't even say anything at the start. Hi, hello internet. I hope everyone's doing well. I'm pretty good. Pretty good. I'm excited to start my garden. It's almost warm enough. I figure in the next few weeks here, I'll be able to, you know, at least start the early things. So that's always fun. Get some of these plants out of the garage. Good stuff. I posted a bunch of cat content. If you're into cat videos, you can find them on all my socials. Yeah. I'm gonna be working on doing my nails while we watch stuff as well. They need work. They've looked better. Can't really see, probably. Wait, is my focus like there? Still haven't quite figured out manual focus on my camera, but we'll get there one of these days.
Addiction, you probably think of substances first. Cigarette. When I say addiction, you probably think of substances first. Cigarettes, alcohol, caffeine, drug addiction. But you might also then think of new addictions. Work, social media, phone screens, gaming, YouTube, even performance addictions. These are so-called behavioural addictions, and the way we talk about them leads to a broader question. Is the very face of addiction changing? In fact, so many of our addictions seem to be becoming, instead, online ones. As our psychologies fuse into the hyper-real, postmodern, screen-attached cyber psychologies, symbiotic with tech itself and dependent on it, what happens to those compulsions that we feel, that pull towards clickbait, towards likes, towards doom scrolling? What's it doing to us? I have addictions, too many. They're not too bad these days, but I smoke a bit, I drink a bit, I eat too much sugary stuff, I'm drawn to Twitter, and I convince myself that YouTube videos are research because of this job. Even my reading, my work habits, my exercise verge on feeling like addictive compulsions. The modern world, the one that arose out of developments in science, factories, industry, the Enlightenment, was an attempt in many ways to fix a pre-modern problem: scarcity. what happens when, for some of us, the problem of scarcity is overcome. The modern problem of overcoming scarcity turns on its head and becomes a postmodern problem, that of abundance and excess, from too little to too much. Our wiring has evolved over the course of millennia as a response to the scarce landscape of the savannah. Postmodern life is a constant fight against the ghosts of that wiring. Is that new fight, the new face of addiction, becoming an epidemic? Drug overdoses in the US have tripled since 1990. Opioid use has risen by 300%. 300 million of us have an alcohol disorder.
Shit.
In the 20th century, 100 million people died early from smoking. Many psychologists estimate that 1 in 10 Americans qualify for social media addiction. One study estimates that 7% of gamers are problem gamers, and 1.4% study estimate that 1 in 10 Americans
characterized by being overly concerned about social media, driven by an uncontrollable urge to log on or to use social media, and devoting so much time and effort to social media that it impairs other important life areas. Yeah, so like any other addiction, once it's like affecting your ability to live your daily life.
qualify for social media.
Addictive social media use will look much like any other substance use disorder and may include mood modification, salience, tolerance, withdrawal symptoms, conflict, and relapse. Yeah.
Addiction. One study estimates that 7% of gamers are problem gamers and 1.4% are addicted. Facebook itself found that Instagram was harmful to teenage girls. 30% of us could be classified as addicted to our phones, 7% of us to gambling, and 7% of us to online shopping. So is it true to say that we live in an age of addiction? Philosopher Kent Donington has written, "Persons with severe addictions are among those contemporary prophets that we ignore to our own demise, for they show us who we truly are." So what's going on here? If this broad pursuit of pleasure ranges from tobacco to Tetris, sex to social media, booze to buying, gaming to gambling, how do we think about addiction at all? It all seems so broad, so vague. The American Society of Addiction Medicine defines addiction like this. Addiction is a treatable chronic medical disease involving complex interactions among brain circuits, genetics, the environment, and an individual's life experiences. People with addiction use substances or engage in behaviours that become compulsive and often continue despite harmful consequences. Of course, addiction is complex, personal, subjective, but I think two parts of that definition are important. Compulsion, the pull of addiction, the diminishing of our free will to resist, and the harmful consequences. We live in a constantly shifting context of addictive hooks, environments designed to draw us in, to pull our behaviour, to advertise pleasures, to flash signs and slogans and...
Yep, the good old attention economy, baby. Everyone wants your attention and they want it now.
Headlines and photos to notify us of trivial but tempting updates. We live in an attention society that seeks to take possession of our minds over and over from all directions. In fact, studies have shown that substance addictions to nicotine, say, and behavioural addictions to phones, say, are indistinguishable in brain scans. Cocaine addiction and gambling addictions, for example, show similar patterns in cues, cravings, dopamine release, withdrawal symptoms, and so on. Professor of Marketing Adam Alter, in his book Irresistible, says that there's a pattern that describes the brain of a drug addict as he injects heroin, and a second that describes the brain of a gaming addict as he fires up a new World of Warcraft quest. They turn out to be almost identical. So if all addictions are based on that compulsion, combined with harmful consequences, how can we think about the historic change towards these new, postmodern addictions? In a 1993 Wired article on this new thing called the internet, Mitchell Kapoor predicted that
what now?
we could wind up with networks that have the principal effect of fostering addiction to a new generation of electronic narcotics. Glitzy, interactive multimedia
Electronic
successors
narcotics.
to Nintendo and MTV, their principal themes revolving around instant
swear.
gratification through sex, violence, or sexual violence, their uses and content determined by mega corporations pushing mindless consumption of things we don't need and aren't good for us. He then asks, what could prevent such a fate?
Is the internet just the logical culmination of our history of trying to make pleasures ever present? We've built entire civilizations and progress on the pursuit of pleasure and the avoidance of pain.
As psychiatrist Anna Lembick writes, as a result, we've transformed the world from a place of scarcity to a place of overwhelming abundance. We've evolved for scarcity and live, in some cases and in some places, with abundance. The industrial, modern, capitalist pursuit of pleasures on demand is what historian David Courtwright has called limbic capitalism. He says that limbic capitalism is a technologically advanced way of doing business that encourages excessive compulsion and addiction. Targeting of the limbic system are quick emotional reactions, feelings, our deepest evolutionary desires, our base impulses, sugar, money, celebrity, sex, gambling, luxury. Throughout history, we've sought to institutionalize and secure these pleasures. Food,
Holy
drink,
shit.
shelter are the most
This is so fucking real, dude. Oh my god. I was not expecting this to get so real.
obvious, but we've also sought to maximize the potency and availability of things by distilling spirits, building casinos, producing cartons of cigarettes, brothels, creating slave trades for sugar, global fast food supply chains, designing persuasive social media systems, and Hollywood. Limbic capitalists seek to supply pleasure and reap predictable profits. In 1663, the mathematician Girolamo Cardano carefully studied many gambling games and created lists of probabilities of outcomes, wins and losses. Further mathematicians made it possible for casinos and lotteries to professionalize gambling and make the extraction of profits from gamblers a scientific pursuit. In casinos, add booze, women, food, cigarettes, take away natural light, etc., add beds to sleep in, and you have a winning hand. Today, big tech giants work on the probabilities of you opening an app at a certain time of day, the best way to predict what you'll click like on or share. Sales in your inbox work on the chance of you responding to a certain percentage off at a certain time.
It could be said that we've built civilizations on the pursuit of dopamine, the most important neurotransmitter in our brain, the feel-good chemical, the reward molecule. What's interesting about dopamine is that it might be more important for the expectation of reward than the reward itself.
I've heard this. It's true.
Dopamine is central to addiction. The more dopamine released, the more addictive the drug. When we engage in addictive behaviours, we get a burst of dopamine. Then our homeostasis system, the system that balances and regulates our body, tips the other way, producing withdrawal symptoms.
The dopamine released is a reward for behaviour that we assume is good, fun, exciting, social, and so on. But usually, evolutionarily speaking, it was also rare, a treat, sugars and fats being the prime example.
When we have too much of these things, our dopamine baseline drops to balance out. We down-regulate. We get that big reward, that big hit, then our system has to recover. We experience withdrawal, dullness, boredom, temptation, and so on. We also
And this is the down regulation that happens when you're addicted is the reason you start using more and more of whether it's a substance or porn. Like you start using more to get the same like dopamine spike, the same reward, but it takes more to like get to that level.
also build up a tolerance. We require more and more of the thing to get the same result, the same fix.
Oh shit, I didn't
And we
change
spend
my
more of our
thing.
time pursuing it, resulting in many cases in an unbalanced life, an unnourished life. Now, we instinctively know this when it comes to booze, caffeine and other substances. We get hangovers and crashes. But remember, the brain scans of the heroin addict and the World of Warcraft addict look identical. Dopamine spikes, withdrawal symptoms, tolerance apply to social media as much as to cigarettes, as much to sugar as it does to phones. Before we get back to limbic capitalism, one of the most fascinating findings in studies of dopamine is that it's not just released as a reward, but also, and maybe even more importantly, in the expectation of a reward. Memory is central to the release of dopamine. We remember a certain cue, a certain pattern, predict or remember a certain outcome, and get excited. We see a fast food restaurant or a pub, I have a beer and think cigarette, our mouth salivates at cooking food. Gamblers get as excited when the slot machine starts spinning than from the win itself. What we get in all of these things are cues. We get a little cue when our phone buzzes. Dopamine is released in expectation of what it is, more than the what it is itself. Cues, the expectation of reward, or hooks, are central to postmodern addictions.
I can feel a slow stream of dopamine release when I'm out exploring, the experience of novelty, anticipation, thinking through new things in real time, all reward with dopamine release. But too much of any good thing becomes a problem.
I love having a silly little lizard brain. A silly little mammalian animal brain. Like, we act like we're so evolved, but like, it's pretty easy to hack our brains, it turns out. That's a problem.
When it tips us off balance, too much work, too much sugar, too much gambling, too much social media.
And under limbic capitalism, those hooks, corporate signs, logos, headlines, notifications, games, that promise of a big hit of dopamine, drawing us in like the siren song, it's all everywhere. And here's the biggest problem with limbic capitalism. 80% of alcohol sales go to 20% of the heaviest users. The gambling industry makes 80% of profits from 20% of gamblers. In social media use, the top 1% of users create the majority of content.
Yeah. And these people who, like, consume the most, they're called whales, because they're always trying to land the whale. Whether it's casinos or a drug dealer, you know, like, literally anything, like, big tobacco, like, just trying to get that one person who's gonna spend thousands of dollars.
Limbic hooks appeal to the most vulnerable among us, those that are most likely to form addictions, those with psychological needs, those in poverty, kids, those of us with genetic predispositions towards addiction, but they appeal to the most vulnerable among us and the most vulnerable parts of us. Alter says that a staggering 41% of the population has suffered from at least one behavioural addiction over the past 12 months. When we're surrounded by dopamine on tap, when we live in that age of abundance, an opioid epidemic, fried food everywhere, booze everywhere, online gambling 24/7, social connection 24/7, the promise of novelty 24/7, any film or video at any time, any music at any time, when we have a lack in our lives, a psychological need, it becomes easy to replace it with a crutch. And social isolation, a lack of social support, trauma, poverty, genetics, combined with ease of access and potency, engineered weed, strong alcohol, hyper-tuned online...
You leave my fucking weed out of this. It's good, okay? Engineered weed is the best thing that ever happened. Have you had ditch weed? It's not good. Fucking brickweed. It's not what you want, man.
and gambling, etc. are all predictors for addiction.
I do find it remarkable how no matter what it is, humans will immediately find a way to distill the most pure form of a substance or a thing. Like with weed, we had to make dabs, which are just like out of this world strong. Like, very few people, I think, actually need that level of medication. It's incredibly strong. And people overuse it all the time. But yeah, like, instead of making, like, just coca tea and being fine with that, like, we made cocaine. Instead of just, like, having, like, wine and beer, we had to make, like, alcohol, like, hard alcohol. It's just, like, interesting to me, like, always trying to find, like, the next highest high. Even with opiates, like, we had heroin, and, like, that was pretty strong, and, like, OxyContin was incredibly strong. Morphine, really, really fucking strong. Yet, we still made fentanyl, which is even stronger. Like, what? Like, did we have to? I don't know.
What we see under limbic capitalism is the design and production of sophisticated techniques to appeal to the release of dopamine, the mathematization of gambling, the use of new printing techniques and bold colours to grab our attention, the proliferation of signs and sounds to draw us into apps and adverts, autoplay, algorithms to predict what you like when you'll like it, headlines that will fire your fight and flight, and the most powerful of all, the simple screen. In short, cues and hooks are ubiquitous, everywhere tempting the promise of quick rewards.
And so the key to the attention economy, a subpart of limbic capitalism, is to dangle digital drugs that are likeable, clickable, repeatable, that entice, persuade and cajole us. Just think how different your everyday landscape is to how we've evolved.
I got into a Twitter fight. I did Twitter discourse. Like a lot of it. It's kind of embarrassing. It's still like there if you want to go look, but like I saw fucking Swerve talking points on the timeline, and I could not just scroll past. It made me very mad. Very, very mad. For like 24 hours straight. I mean, not straight. Off and on. But, yeah, sex work is real work, and you should respect the people who perform that service for people.
You probably know the story. Odysseus, on his way home, gets his crew to tie him to the mast to hear the siren song for himself. That sweet, alluring, melodious sound that draws seafarers towards the rocks, while his shipmates put wax in their ears as they navigate past. Homer's Odyssey is a foundational story in human history. Is it any wonder that this temptation towards sweetness and doom, a metaphor for many things, is such a well-known part of that story, such a well-known warning in human psychology?
There's something primordial about the warning of the pull down the dopaminergic tract. Some kind of original sin, maybe.
How many times have you seen a notification like this and been compelled to click and see what's new? How many times a day do you check your email on autopilot? How many times have you not noticed that the reason you're drawn to this notification sign is because it's in red to get your attention? Game designers use compelling feedback rewards, sounds, flashes, animations that reinforce the reward of that little dopamine hit. Virtual reality will make all of this multisensory. In his History of Attention, Tim Wu writes that the inventor of email, Stephen Lukasik, was arguably the first to develop that little habit that consumes the attention of so many of us, the check-in, the impulse triggered by the intrusive thought that whatever else one is doing, I need to check my email. 70% of office emails are read within 6 seconds. Accounts are checked 36 times every hour. Almost half of people describe this compulsive checking as a loss of control. We've become addicted to Inbox Zero, to running streaks on our sports watches, to Duolingo streaks, to posting once a day, to beating a high score, to catching up on that last Netflix cliffhanger. Once one company starts vying for our attention, it sets in motion a chain of competition in which you either present your hook, your corporate hook, your gesture to the world, your demand for attention, or you get out-hooked yourself. You go out of business, you lose in the great game of content creation that we now live in. Wu writes that under competition, the race will naturally run to the bottom. Attention will almost invariably gravitate towards the more garish, lurid, outrageous alternative, whatever stimulus may more likely engage what cognitive scientists call our automatic attention as opposed to our control attention, the kind we direct with intent. The sirens of our postmodern addictions tempt us away from the physical world to our phone screens. In 1958, Aldous Huxley, author of Brave New World, wrote that the development of a vast mass communications industry concerned in the main neither with the true nor the false, but with the unreal, the more or less totally irrelevant, failed to take into account man's almost infinite appetite for distractions. Even our goals become a hook that can turn into addiction. We must beat the last video viewed. We must get more likes than the last post. I must get more views on this video than the last one. I must run a faster pace than last week. Must beat that high score on a game. Must get more followers. Goals are everywhere. Alter writes that the internet has exposed people to goals they barely knew existed, and wearable tech devices have made goal tracking effortless and automatic. Where once you had to seek out new goals, today they land, often uninvited, in your inbox and on your screen. Metrics, analytics, the comparing of yourself to everyone on the planet closes the gap between performance and possibility, and with it comes pressure.
Why do we become addicted to social media? There are many factors, but a few universal ones stand out to me as interesting. First, novelty. As hunter-gatherers, we're wired to seek the new, exploring, whether in the wild or in the digital wilderness, is addictive.
Another is that big tech have learned a lot from the gambling industry. Studies have shown that the maybe factor, the idea of maybe getting a win, the maybe of having a new email, a new friend request, the thrill of the chase, releases more dopamine than the win itself. In studies, pigeons peck a button to release food more furiously when the food is released randomly instead of consistently. The like button changed the psychology of sharing. We now gamble with the maybe factor each time we share something new, a new photo, a new update, a new video. How will people respond to it? Social media uses what psychologists call variable reinforcement. The rewards vary, and studies have found that variable reinforcement is the best way to train animals into obedient habits. Casinos use so-called luck ambassadors. When you're near your point of giving up and leaving, when you've lost repeatedly, someone's dispatched to give you a free drink or a voucher. In the same way, when you haven't logged into an app or a game for a while, you'll get a free little update, a notification, a gift of some coins or a special piece of news. Philosopher James Williams proposes a thought experiment. How would you design a society as weak-willed as possible? It would, he says, deliver an endless supply of informational rewards on demand, whether that's outrage headlines or cute cat photos. And what's worrying is that those informational rewards become more and more personalised to suit our particular weaknesses. Professor of Psychiatry David Greenfield, who founded the Centre for Internet and Technology Addiction, says that the internet amplifies the intoxicating impact of stimulating content via the efficient delivery mechanism into our nervous system. He describes the internet with its variable rewards, beeps, buzzes, colours, flashes, animations and notifications as the world's largest slot machine. As the slot machine gets even more sophisticated, it's only going to get harder to resist. An early pioneer of the idea of behavioural addictions, the psychologist Stanton Peele said that an addiction is an extreme dysfunctional attachment to an experience that is acutely harmful to a person, but that is an essential part of the person's ecology and that the person cannot relinquish.
The word ecology stands out to me there. Ecology, landscape, the world that we find ourselves in. The internet, of course, is the new digital landscape, and the hooks and cues are new indispensable parts of our lives. But does that mean we should wander through the digital landscape and just give into it?
The idea of ecology and addiction is so essential that during the Vietnam War heroin epidemic, many in America were fearful of what would happen when veterans that had become addicted to heroin serving in Vietnam brought that addiction home with them. Politicians in particular feared a widespread heroin epidemic on domestic soil. But it didn't really happen. Many who were addicted in Vietnam didn't bring that particular problem back with them. The reason was that the ecology, the landscape, the relationship back home was completely different. The same cues and hooks weren't there
Material conditions different? What?
anymore. Williams has described computers as wondrous machines that also appeal to the lowest parts of us. Like all technology, the value of something like a phone is of course neutral. It's what we do with the tech that matters. To combat postmodern addictions, there are two paths. We need to both better arm ourselves, educate ourselves and foster a culture of awareness, and design and create responsible landscapes that protect vulnerable people, kids, addicts, and the vulnerable parts within all of us. Arming yourself is difficult. Many psychologists have argued that abstinence alone is rarely enough. Instead, we need to focus on the psychological needs that the addictions are a cover for, something that's not being fulfilled in the moment. Psychiatrist Anne Lembick writes that many of us use high dopamine substances and behaviours to distract ourselves from our own thoughts.
I think the trick to beating an addiction is to replace it with something new, something else, something more meaningful. To allow yourself to think about what the need is in the moment. Ask honestly why the compulsion is there. Escape, fun, boredom, fear, a reward. Then try to replace the addictive behaviour with a new habit that does the same job psychologically. Twitter doom scrolling is the result of needing a break and seeking novelty. Go for a walk instead, or flick through a paper.
AA teaches to avoid the hooks and cues, people, places, and things that trigger compulsive behaviour. Remember, the expectation of reward is difficult to resist once the hook has lodged itself under your skin. If Twitter is open in a visible tab, it's much more difficult to resist clicking to see what the notification is than if you're logged out. Notifications can be turned off on your phone.
But the idea that we should all just work to resist the limbic temptation...
Dude, yeah, I turn off notifications for basically everything. I still end up checking most of the apps anyway, but like, you know, like my most used ones. But yeah, turn off all the notifications that you can get away with, unless you need it for like work.
...that surround us is a naive neoliberal dream. We should focus on the landscape of hooks and cues too. The designers of the system and our laws and regulations are all responsible for the structure of our experience.
The problem with relying on the individual to resist limbic temptations is that, as design ethicist Tristan Harris says, willpower is not enough when there are 1,000 people on the other side of the screen whose job it is to break down the self-regulation that you have. And Devangi Vivrakar says that portraying the problem as one in which we need to be more mindful of our interaction with apps can be likened to saying that we need to be more mindful of our behaviour while interacting with the artificial intelligence algorithms that beat us at chess.
I broke the tip on my nail file. Fuck. I don't know what to do. Because, like, this tip is so good for, like, filing away my, like, cuticle that's, like, on the nail. But now it's just, like, sharp glass. Fuck. I need a new one. Sag. Very sag. Ooh. I think I know where another one is. Momentito.
Equally sophisticated algorithms beat us at the attention game all the time. Billions of dollars and millions of engineers, programmers, designers, even psychologists and focus groups all spend their time and attention working out how to attract your attention. So in response, we must focus our attention on demanding effective digital landscapes that align with our goals and needs, rather than appeal to the weakest parts of ourselves and prey on those addictive tendencies within us and are a danger to our kids. In one survey, half of kids said they felt addicted to their phone and 3/4 felt compelled to respond to texts, posts and notifications immediately. Self-harm posts and self-harm itself seems to be on the rise. Excessive gaming is correlated with negative mental health outcomes. Excessive social media use correlated with anxiety and depression. Early adulthood is the highest risk age for developing addictions. If you don't develop an addiction earlier in life, you're less likely to develop one later on. And one big reason for this is that, as Alter says, young adults are bombarded by a galaxy of responsibilities that they're not equipped to handle. They learn to medicate by taking up substances or behaviours that dull the insistent sting of those persistent hardships. Combine this with having devices on tap that provide consistent drips of dopamine on demand, and we could be on course for a generational disaster. Ask most parents of kids that age and they'll tell you it's impossible to resist the pressure for kids to have phone and social media accounts when all of their friends do. It becomes unfair on them. If they're the only ones without, it's just as harmful for them to be ostracised. And so the duty of care, the duty to do something, must instead fall on institutions, schools, governments, regulation, and the social media and big tech giants themselves. There's a quote I find interesting from the
That's not
American
happening.
philosopher Matthew.
That's literally never happening, especially big tech. Like they're not just gonna, be responsible.
Crawford. He says, "The left's project of liberation led us to dismantle inherited cultural jigs that once imposed a certain coherence, for better and worse, on individual lives. This created a vacuum of cultural authority that has been filled, opportunistically, with attentional landscapes that get installed by whatever choice architect brings the most energy to the task, usually because it sees the profit potential."
I think what he means is that historically we had authoritative guides about how we should act. They came from places like the church, from cultural ideas of things like masculinity, what acceptable decorum might be, what should or shouldn't be allowed on television and radio and so on. But those cultural, political and social guides have largely disappeared and been replaced with the market. At their worst, those cultural jigs, as he calls them, restricted us. But at their best, they provided a kind of landscape, an ecology that guided us.
In replacing them with the market, we leave ourselves open to whoever can attract our attention as the highest bidder with the sweetest, most addictive hook. And that's dangerous. When it comes to traditional addictive substances, tobacco, alcohol, drugs, we intervene in their use in several ways. By limiting access, by restricting by age, or say by regulating their ingredients to make sure they're safe. We do the same for casinos and gambling and for advertising drugs and other addictive substances. We also have cultural and social expectations and media pressure to make sure substances are made and sold responsibly. In liberal societies, both are meant to be a light touch. Adults should be left to make their own decisions, but I think there is legitimate reason to regulate when addictive technologies are affecting the most vulnerable. Regulation and our expectations of platforms like social media should be designed to protect categories like children and addicts. I think these labels, for example, that we have on cigarettes and tobacco over here, this one says tobacco smoke contains over 70 substances known to cause cancer. I think they're a good example of light touch regulation, although I'm unsure how much they work. They don't do much for me, but I think the intention is good. Should the same sort of warnings be on social media? Should the social media age limit be at least 16, not 13, say? Should we expect push notifications to our phones to be turned off by default when we install new apps? Yes, we should. There are plenty of light touch solutions that stop short of being blunt instruments that simply ban websites or get involved in what can and can't be posted. We often think of regulation as too black and white. Another one would be autoplay being turned off by default. In Algorithms of Fear, Vale Gonim writes that we're not driving people to content that could help us as a society. You can build algorithms and experiences that are designed to get the best out of people, and you can build algorithms and experiences that drive out the worst. It's our job as civic technologists to build experience that drive the best. We can do that. We must do that now.
This is one of the biggest problems with giving in to the race to the bottom, limbic capitalism, dangled digital sugar in front of everyone's eyes of neoliberalism. The cyber ecology becomes full of
Damn, that was kind of a bar.
addictive hooks.
Experience that drive the best. We can do that. We must do that now.
This is one of the biggest problems with giving in to the race to the bottom, limbic capitalism, dangled digital sugar in front of everyone's eyes of neoliberalism. The cyber ecology becomes full of addictive hooks that we have no protection against.
Recently, I keep coming back to this quote from the sociologist Zygmunt Bauman. He writes, "The deep contradiction of our age is the yawning gap between the right of self-assertion and the capacity to control the social settings which render such self-assertion feasible. It's from that abysmal gap that the most poisonous effluvia contaminating the lives of contemporary individuals emanate."
Effluvia.
To fight that poisonous effluvia, we must take back
Effluvia. You can't just keep saying that like I should know what it means. What the fuck? Sounds like a medication or like a part of the body. Effluvium. An unpleasant or harmful odor, secretion, or discharge. Ugh. The example is the unwholesome effluvia of decaying vegetable matter.
Control.
Stinky.
Thank you as always for watching, and a huge thanks of course as always to my
thank you.
Patreons, without which this
His
just
audio is
wouldn't be possible.
all over the
So if you
place.
want to see scripts, if you
I
want
had
to
to
chat
boost it
in
to
the
140,
Discord
but now it's
server,
back to
if you want your
normal.
name in the
It's, like,
credits,
too
but
loud.
most of all, if you just want to help support.
All over the place. Holy.
Just pearly things come out of nowhere and a mass
Oh
of
god.
fervent
Oh god. Trigger warning. Just pearly things. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Trigger warning transphobia. Wait, I liked this. Did we watch this already? Wait, did we watch this already? I don't think so.
following with takes like these.
Women are fatter than ever before, we're older than ever before, and we're less youthful than ever getting married, and we have more bodies than ever. So we bring less to the table than ever. How many women have a cookbook?
This is something that Candace Owens been doing since King Hatchet was a hammer, and that has rendered her one of the most visible black conservatives in the Western Hemisphere.
The feminist movement has nothing to do with women. It has nothing to do with trying to help women at all. They just like to still use the word feminism so that you can't attack it, right? Or else you're a sexist and you hate women.
Now let's see who you really are.
Basically, I'm a hoe, I need dick.
Andrew Tate!
That's all I'm interested in.
And what say you, Candace?
I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
Kermit the Frog! I mean Jordan Peterson!
I have a low IQ.
This prosaic skit is meant to articulate the research question of this video essay. Are these femmes spitting femininity, or is it something else? Stop! Stop typing! Foreign! You clamor in the comments, weeping with rage. Why am I, the sisters of het men, to ever tread this moribund mortal coil, talking about femininity? Well, my sweet summer child, you're about to find out why. You see, remember this clip from Brittany Renner?
What do you gain from telling girls that they're not special? How does that make you feel? I mean, I know everything is a joke, but I'm asking you a real question. So how does that make you feel? Because if I say you're that does something for me, right? If I insult you or if I tell you you're not special, you're forgettable. Again, you're forgettable. That's why I didn't want to do you guys' podcast. Forgettable. Hate the setup. The name is underwhelming. I didn't really see the value in it.
Now, first off, this clip has been scrubbed off of the internet and supplanted by pretty much only manosphere commentary of the actual video. Even Hassan Nabi covered this.
Which is not surprising because the only thing that this man loved more than black people business is eating hummus while watching a J. Aubrey video and going to the bathroom to piss. Brittany of the Renners. One of the most ostensible IG models. A career path that is loathed by these inselect trolls that couldn't even get a follow back from these films. Brittany went from an IG model to standing up for countless casualties at the hand of the Fresh and Fit podcast. This gal stood up against Myron. Foreign from the future editing this right now. I want to take a second to acknowledge and apologize for the ableism in that Freudian slip just now. I'm sorry. Please don't cancel me. I mean, come on, give me a break, man. I literally just donated and
Canceled.
helped.
You know what? I think we did watch this. I think I'm having flashbacks of my react. We may have also watched the one before. I'm useless. Listen, okay? I'm sorry.
Money for my big trans folk them, so
I will never understand people.
They're the worst. Oftentimes, when you talk about socialism with someone, you get to
Fuck me, did we watch this too?
this point in the conversation. Socialism sounds good in theory, but it could never work in real life. People are too competitive, too greedy, too selfish, too cruel, too violent. To insert something bad. They're the worst. Or sometimes, the conversation doesn't focus on how evil people are, but on how commerce-driven humans are. Socialism would never work because humans are economic animals with brains built for trade and maximizing our returns on investment. Much of the public debate about socialism doesn't really focus on the merits of socialism. Instead of debating whether it would be better if everyone was housed, fed, free from exploitation, and working shorter days, because it's immediately obvious that it would be, or how we might get there and the institutions that would coordinate these needs, the conversation gets cut short on the grounds that it's unrealistic. Despite socialists proving the possibility of these things empirically, through experimentation, logic, and historical or cross-cultural parallel, all these efforts are struck down by these really simple statements that just kind of sound true. Sure, capitalism sucks, but that's because humans suck, so why should we believe socialism could be any better? Socialism is pie in the sky. It's hubris from young people who don't know how the world works yet. Just wait till you hit your 30s and you'll grow out of it. And I understand why this works. It's a convincing idea. Everyone has people in their life who are greedy, selfish jerks, and everyone can recognize the part of themselves that is a greedy, selfish jerk. It stands to reason that human nature has, at the very least, an element of selfishness and cruelty to it. But this has very little to do with socialism, and as a justification for capitalism, it's a very strange one. In this video, I'm not going to prove what human nature is or isn't. If you'd like to watch a video approaching this question from a biological perspective, go check out my buddy YouGotMix video.
I'm pretty sure we watched it. Oh. Alright. This I know we haven't watched. And I'm hyped. It's gonna be good. Viewer discretion is advised. Let's go. God, I love their videos. They're so aesthetic.
Ah, beauty. The most important thing in a girl's life. After all, the only time they're not on display like an ornament is when they're at the dressing table. And even then, not quite. Here we have M. Shakespeare, who is a girl, I think, willing to perform their beauty routine for you, the viewer. Prior to the camera's introduction into their morning, M. Shakespeare spent the normal and necessary amount of hours scrubbing, shaving, waxing, and grooming their hair for the effortless look they're presenting to you now. They did their eyebrows off camera. Not to mention the $1 million trust fund insured to them by their oil rig owning father, which is usually spent on expensive professional beauty care and procedures that regular working class people will never see the light of.
What?
Oh, M. Shakespeare is quite unused to the nature of these videos. You don't get to talk, M. Shakespeare. Just sit there and look pretty. Right. To get the natural and obtainable beauty as shown by M. Shakespeare, let's proceed. In the world of beauty, it's best to start with a fresh face, clean of any grime or city air. Society loves their ornaments to be polished and perfumed delicately, so everything that is sold to said ornaments for promised beauty infiltrates the skin better. Depending on your budget, you're free to use any agreeable soap. M. Shakespeare prefers White Bouquet for its awarded promise of being the gentlest skincare on earth. You just cream the soap into a lather with your fingertips, making sure to rub extra hard in especially problematic areas. Rinse and blot dry. After your face has been washed, it's best to apply a cold cream. It adds moisture and softens the skin, which will come in handy for the devastating effects of the arsenic wafers I'm going to sell to you later. Once applied, wipe away excess with a soft towel and allow it to melt into the skin. See how M. Shakespeare glows? Which is bad, by the way. Glowing implies oil on the skin, which is not only bad because it's natural, but good because it makes our vast inventory of powder much more sellable. Applying another cream is essential at this step. M. Shakespeare uses Bloom of Babylon, the delicate complexion cream. It's great for removing freckles, morphews, worms, hair follicles, and just about every other lively characteristic on a healthy human being. The lavender essence and white lead ingredients work together to smoothen out the skin and create a perfectly dry,
I'm
pale,
sold.
affected complexion.
Where can I get it?
Next comes powder.
I'll take 3.
Shakespeare's favorite part. They find that White Bouquet also makes the best talcum powder, perfect for applying thickly to the skin. It absorbs moisture and keeps the skin fragranced in a way that men love. Usually, M. Shakespeare loves applying it all over their body right after a nice, warm bath, which is fun to picture for the lads at home. It lasts hours and hours and makes your body a flower field for the men in your life to frolic through. Yes, every morning and before every date, sprinkle yourself liberally with White Bouquet. It works the same for the face. Press gently into the pores, making sure to get close to your breathing orifices for maximum coverage and mesothelioma. There, you look like a doll. It's also important to invest in arsenic wafers for a transparent, clear, and fresh complexion. Dr. Warcrime's safe arsenic complexion wafers transform even the most sallow skin into radiant, white health by killing red blood cells, and hair, and kidney function, and heart function, and liver function, and take one every morning during your beauty routine, and an ample amount throughout the day on a light diet to get glowing, nearly corpse-like skin. And if that doesn't work, get out your sword for a bloodletting ritual popular with such beauty icons as Marie Antoinette and your centuries-dead grandfather. Good. I mean, I see a few things that can be taken care of, but sure. Have you ever tried the tapeworm diet? Expeditiously. What of belladonna eyes? And have you ever heard of anti-wrinkle drinking straws? Nonsense. All of the new TikTok beauty stars are doing it. Regular straws are normal and give you wrinkles, which are natural and bad. But our new anti-wrinkle drinking straws that we invented to make you more insecure are the holy grail of anti-aging. No more puckering or suckering.
Ayo? Puckering? Any puckerers and suckerers in chat?
I tried to get myself an at-home nose job, and here's how it turned out.
I'm sorry, what? Did she just say a natural nose job?
And here's.
I was not ready for that.
I tried to get myself an at-home nose job, and here's how it turned out.
God. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god.
Hi.
This guy says hello, I want to
Hi.
In an ironic turn of events, I cannot sit down because my dress will break, and I refuse to take the dress off because you guys need to see it. No matter the season,
Icon.
The internet is usually always unbearable. I would know.
That's what I call being dedicated to your motherfucking craft, okay?
I work here. Between Twitter, men with microphones, and conservative meltdowns about the God-given right to use gas stoves, treading on the World Wide Web is like treading on a snake in the South. You just don't do it. They have a flag about it and everything. But there's
No
another
step.
aspect of the internet
No step
that
on
seems
Snick.
to be increasingly harder to ignore. Beauty horror. And no, I'm not talking about the countless TikTokers who are forgetting the war crimes Jeffree Star has committed in his 800,000-year career just because they want to watch his mascara videos. Nor am I talking about the
800,000
chaos
year.
that was By Sister. I'm not even talking about Shane Dawson proposing to his fiancée on 2 knees. I'm talking about our culture's obsession with beauty to a detriment. Like body horror, the popular film subgenre, beauty horror bends our bodies and minds in grotesque, almost unnatural formations for entertainment. And it's quickly becoming the talk of the town.
Hey, Queen. Girl, you have done it again. Constantly raising the bar for us all. And doing it flawlessly.
Tiffany Ferguson and Jordan Teresa each made quality videos about the subject of beauty and body trends in the media and how harmful they are to our brains and self-esteem and red blood cell count. Tiffany specifically focuses on what body trends are overtaking the social zeitgeist at the moment, especially when it comes to plastic surgery. And Jordan tackles the effects these trends may have on our mental health and attention spans. It's like there's a screeching cacophony of what we should look like being played on an intercom speaker in every room we enter. The grocery store. Our waist needs to be invisible behind an A4 paper or we're not pretty enough. The mall. Which kind of pretty are you? Natural pretty, model pretty, or popular pretty? Even your local library is being infiltrated. Film yourself from the back to see how tiny your waist is or how big your butt looks. No, wait, go get a mirror and deeply inspect every inch of your vagina. Are you an innie or an outie? What color is it? Oh, by the way, have you ever heard of labiaplasty? And they're not even being funded properly. Our current beauty conversation is undeniably different from beauty trends of the past. No one, God willing, is eating arsenic wafers to maintain pale skin anymore, right? Right? But that doesn't mean we're not displaying symptoms of sickness. Our contemporary obsession with beauty is defined by a rapid repackaging of aesthetic content, labels, and standards that are set to be more aspirational than obtainable. Clean girl has become that girl, has become vanilla girl, has become warm cinnamon spice latte almond girl, has become pat a cake, baker's man, bake me a cake as fast as you can. Girl. Rapid repackaging and a constant surveillance of aesthetics implies beauty obsession because we're incapable of just existing outside of performance. We're not even capable of slowing down. Every moment is characterized by how we look, what aesthetic we embody, how others perceive us. It has gotten so pervasive that people have begun amplifying normal, unaesthetic routines just to show they still exist. Others still have begun taking part in what they call de-influencing, which means minimalizing the importance of consumerism and telling their audiences what not to buy. My argument is not that this rapid repackaging is detrimental simply because it's annoying, and it is quite annoying. I believe it contributes to the growing chasm between us and aspirational beauty. This chasm ensures that we're forever inadequate, always chasing a goal we will never obtain. We keep spending money, keep changing ourselves, just to remain ugly in society's eyes. Not only that, beauty obsession and the constant need to self-survey, self-monitor, and self-commodify makes us into products to be consumed. Even when we're not necessarily selling ourselves as influencers, we're still surveilling and marketing ourselves to some perceived audience. This rapid repackaging of aesthetics also means that we're being inundated with media after media, reminder after reminder, that the most important and most successful job we can have, especially as women and feminine presenting people, is to be beautiful, to be pleasing to look at, both in the mirror and by others. We need to be that perfect ornament adorning a room at all times, or else we have failed at a crucial aspect of our being. The question you may be asking yourself now, or at least the question I'm going to be forcibly implanting in your head, is whether or not TikTok is to blame for all of this. Is the new generation so obsessed with beauty that we're skewing our standards?
Look, I think we have always been very obsessed with beauty. Beauty standards have always been rigid, but they have changed throughout time as well. So, like, I don't know, it's not like suddenly we have way more beauty standards. It's just like I don't know. I really think our brains just aren't ready to like see this many hot people, or like people we perceive as hot because of like editing and filters and whatever. Just not ready for that shit.
All of this the fault of trend followers and influencers. After all, TikTok is where a decent portion of younger people view aspirational beauty content. It's also where I found out about the serial killer beauty test, so, you know, go to hell. But hear me out. TikTok is not the problem. Why are you booing me? I'm right. I mean, it's certainly not helping, but if the app imploded tomorrow, or better yet, if the app never existed in the first place, we would still be exhibiting signs of beauty sickness. Now, whether that sickness is exacerbated or, you know, diminished, who's to say? It's not enough to critique the people partaking in these trends, especially when those people have been socialized their entire lives to do so. You can argue that they should know better, but how effective is that argument against reality? We're shown through the media that beautiful people, by certain standards, live the best lives. They get more romantic interests, more money, more friends. Their family even seems to love them more. Alternatively, people who are depicted as ugly, read also above a size 2, with glasses and pigtails, are shown to be suffering in one aspect or another before they're transformed and accepted as their new beautiful identity. How do you not internalize that? How do you not define your life by your appearance when you're told that's the most important thing about you? That isn't to say, of course, that we should infantilize people and assume that we are all powerless, therefore incapable of critically engaging with our beauty sickness. While I believe that there's a systemic issue at hand, that perhaps our individual actions may not...
Beauty sickness. Beauty sickness. That's new to me.
Be able to overthrow overnight. I also think that there's a lot we can do on an individual level to combat the problem. One of those things is taking responsibility for how our beauty sickness affects not only us, but other people, especially online. I think Jordan Teresa made a great point in her video that there are people who purposely participate in indirect or direct shaming of others to create insecurities in viewers. It kind of reminds me of people who are insecure in themselves and try to make themselves feel better by bringing someone else down, almost as if they're weaponizing their insecurities against others to save themselves. For instance, I saw a TikTok from a person who was gloating about having a small nose as a person of color and outright stating that they're better than other people of color because of it. And while I do wholeheartedly believe that has a lot to do with internalized racism and futurism due to Eurocentric conditioning, it's also a really sad, harmful thing to say. It's a statement that has repercussions, even if it's presented as a personal preference or whatever. Like, how do you post something like that and not know how detrimental that can be to other people of color, especially younger people who are more likely to internalize those beliefs? I think that's something that must be challenged not only by viewers, but by the person who actually said it. Beauty sickness is sold to us and expected of us. That is undeniable at this point, but at a certain point we must question our own actions and beliefs and push back against these narratives. I know it's hard to challenge or even see where to challenge this behavior, especially because beauty surveillance and beauty trends at the moment normalize comparison, they normalize denigration and aspirational superiority, but still I think that it is important. I will admit that it's easy to blame the internet because of how fast-paced and ever-present it feels. Renee Englund notes how, despite beauty sickness being a thing for centuries by this point, the internet seems to oversaturate the conversation. It's faster, it's much more accessible, and it is extremely hard to live life outside of accessing it. Sure, you can live without magazines now, or even a television, but in an age where just about everything is becoming digitized, how do you live without at least a phone? Just on the internet alone, we're being exposed to thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of beauty ads, videos, and images per day. That is significantly different from earlier mediums like magazines, commercials, and billboards. But I would argue that there is an entire system at play that aid in our beauty sickness. Systems that go beyond TikTok girlies and silly little reels. I'm not saying these things aren't detrimental, they certainly cause harm to those who watch and internalize them, but they're also a byproduct created by a culture that will continue to exist and evolve into new mediums. TikTok won't always be at the top of our list. but beauty sickness will. What did I say about critiquing the fruit on the ground and expecting the tree to stop shedding? Our ability to expand outside of our beauty sickness is partially dependent upon how willing we are to zoom in on the source of the problem, not just as byproducts. Tools, not targets, dearest viewer. That is the Shakespeare way.
Based.
Now here's the thing. I love being beautiful. It's something that feels indulgent, like a hobby. I like surrounding myself with beautiful things, wearing beautiful things, feeling beautiful things. Beauty is okay, it's aight. It's much more natural than we give it credit for. People a lot smarter than me have hypothesized that to a point, our attraction to beauty can be biological. Some of us desire someone to pass along our genes with, someone who looks healthy and strong and who potentially guarantees the longevity of our offspring. That is definitely not what goes through my mind when I see a beautiful person, but sure. Let's go with that. Beauty is a complex subject, one that can't be defined on a scale of good or bad. For reference, when I say beauty, I'm speaking about a multitude of things, not just a person's appearance. I think the color pink is beautiful. I think my cats are beautiful. I think my videos are beautiful. Although beauty is considered a woman sort of adjective, I use it liberally across gender lines unless asked not to. I think beauty can refer to how good someone feels in their looks, how affirmed they are by their presentation.
True.
I feel beautiful when I present ultra femininely, but
Dude, I remember when I was a kid, I used to call men beautiful too, and like, I was always corrected. And like, who cares, man? You know what I mean, right? Like, it doesn't have to be like, oh, like, beautiful is a feminine word. You know, like, I didn't mean it like that. I don't mean it like, oh, you're beautiful like a woman. I just mean like, oh, you're beautiful. Like, you're a beautiful human. Like, I don't know. It just makes sense in my brain. I don't know.
But I also feel beautiful when I present androgynous. And because it kind of makes this discussion easier to have when we settle upon a universal word. Beauty is integral to our lives because so many things are affected by it, both people and objects. How can something so seemingly innocent and natural to our existence cause such harm? I want to emphasize that no one is telling you to gather your bras, lipstick, and high heels and toss them in a flaming trash can. It's very possible to acknowledge our beauty sickness while participating in and even liking beauty routines. This was something I had to really challenge while researching because I felt that a lot of the conversations within the sources I was reading were somewhat hostile to people who enjoyed beauty culture, like myself. This idea that if you're focusing on your beauty, you also can't possibly be
like last month, I think, whenever I was reading that feminist text, she was talking about it in that book as well, about how like radical feminism really excluded a lot of women because they still wanted to wear high heels and lipstick, and like there's no need for that, you know. We should all love each other. Love and uplift each other.
Be focusing on your intellect or your life goals feels too simplistic. Do we really have to unfocus on beauty to live full lives? Can beauty and self-determination coexist? And anyway, that's not really the root of this discussion, is it? Are we arguing that people can't like beauty because it's inherently anti-feminist? Or are we simply saying that beauty sickness is poisoning us as a society and that we must take the necessary steps to place a smaller emphasis on it? Well, the latter sounds more plausible, to me at least. So this conversation doesn't seek to villainize beauty, but to understand it better in order to turn our obsession with it down. It seeks to explain that, yes, beauty obsession can and is harmful, but beauty itself is not the enemy. Beauty is important to people in numerous ways, even when it comes to ordinary life. I don't know if you've noticed, but it's hell on earth here. We are in the custody of a broke, deadbeat father who owes trillions in debt, preventative or at least Fixable tragedies occur daily because people prioritize money over lives. And we elected a reality star as the president. I'm surprised we've made it this far, honestly. Life sucks. And sometimes it feels really good to just look at something you find beautiful and be reminded how simple life should be. Colors in a fall soup, the texture of your scarf or mittens, some K-pop idol who will never know your name. Beauty feels almost like a safety zone in the way that it comforts me, even if that beauty isn't cosmetically related. People also tend to think of beauty as a power. We're constantly deluged with the femme fatale, the siren. God, siren. TikTok would collapse in on itself if that aesthetic was taken away from them. The femme fatale archetype is characterized by fatal beauty and seductiveness. She's often depicted as getting whatever she wants, whenever she wants, particularly from men. This is an idealized archetype, one that we look up to and say,
"Oh, she is so cool. Oh, she is so powerful."
We admire the femme fatale because she usually represents something that society takes away from us. In so many words, the media tells women that the one power bestowed to them in an otherwise powerless state is their sexuality and looks. Asterisk included, of course. They won't get taken seriously because they hardly ever are, but they still get their way. It's what makes the idea of being strictly ornamental so attractive to some people because they're told that that's all the power they're going to get. Might as well use it.
Now, Megan, I have to ask you, because you're known as a sex symbol, and I imagine that could be an enormous amount of pressure at times. How has that influenced positively or negatively your
That dress is so, like, devastatingly hot. Oh my god.
fashion choices?
I feel like I've always leaned into it. I'm not afraid to be sexy. I think a woman who's intelligent and also knows how to weaponize her beauty, there's nothing
on Jennifer's body.
There's nothing more dangerous than that. There's nothing more powerful than that. And so I think I feel like all women should embrace the fact that as the divine feminine, we have a lot of power in that. Instead of rejecting it, I'm happy to embrace it and go for the sexy.
But this power is not ours to have. It's based on how much other people, usually men, find us attractive. And Gillen describes it as a conditional power. There's always someone else in charge. It's a grotesque kind of power that begins to disappear just as a woman starts to find her footing in the world. Because societal beauty standards are so horrible, using beauty as a power is conditional because you will inevitably lose your beauty if it's defined solely by said standards. When you age, when you gain weight, when you're born anything other than a blonde, conventionally attractive, white woman. A discriminatory beauty system will always turn on you the second you underperform in any given category. That mirror that you keep yourself locked in for so-called power turns you invisible. The problem is not that people enjoy and participate in beauty. The problem, as Renee Engel describes it, is beauty sickness, not beauty itself. You know you're beauty sick when you put all of your energy into your appearance and fail to spend time on other aspects of your life. When you feel as though you have to participate in beauty trends rather than just desire to. When you feel that you have to wear makeup or put together outfit or have a 45-step skincare routine just to be accepted as a worthy human being. When you're beauty sick, you emphasize beauty above all else. You're trapped in the mirror. Now, something a lot of people may misconstrue at this point is that beauty sickness is a choice. People are choosing to be trapped in that mirror, dictated by what other people think about their appearance. There's this popular belief that smart women know better and therefore learn how to place emphasis on their personality and thoughts rather than their appearance. Unlike the evil, easily brainwashed, hyper-obsessed wench who cares about her looks. And this argument pisses me off. For the most part, people aren't choosing to be beauty sick, and they're not beauty sick because they're less intelligent or critical than someone else. They're beauty sick because they're being inundated with image after image, song after song, TikTok after TikTok of idealized beautiful women that they are told that they need to look like, that they need to aspire to look like. Regardless of intellect, women are taught through our beauty sick culture that their looks are the most important thing about them. And then when they begin to internalize that, we call them vain, stuck up. We say that it's their choice and entirely their fault that they behave this way. Beauty is at once something we must embody and something we must openly criticize or else we're part of the problem, somehow not the culture that enforces it. This conditioning is not something you can just switch off with some media literacy and a course in feminism. Studies actually show that media literacy alone cannot cure someone of beauty sickness, neither can feminist values. It's kind of like being in a room full of television screens. You're tied down to a chair and you're unable to escape the pressing messages being sold to you. You'll be happier when you're prettier. You'll live a more fulfilling life if you meet these standards. Everyone will love you and you'll be more successful if you look like this. You can try closing your eyes, but there's still the intercom overhead infiltrating your very thoughts. If you practice media literacy, you have the tools to understand that these statements and images are false, but you still can't help but to wonder, to be convinced. Engel states, "Knowing better is not enough to protect you from the beauty ideal. Not when so many other elements of your culture promises you that your happiness is bound to achieving that ideal." Beauty sickness is enforced by what I call aspirational beauty. No matter if you hit every characteristic on the long list of beauty standards, there will always be one thing that holds you back from obtaining the perfect ideal. Not reaching it makes you sick because you learn to invest all of your time, energy, and money into chasing it. You become obsessed. That's what keeps the beauty industry booming. That's what creates viral beauty TikToks. And that's what keeps money flowing out of your pocket and into the pockets of people selling you insecurities. Aspirational beauty standards, systemic in nature, are baked into the very fabric of our culture. It dictates how we internalize and perform beauty, and who we do it for. For the sake of this video, let's focus on aspirational beauty on social media. Maybe you follow a celebrity on Instagram that looks really pretty, always has the best clothes, and you think, if I just look like them, everything would be perfect. I would never complain again. Or you have an entire Pinterest board, like me, about people who you aspire to look like. On one hand, you may collect these images and view them as a fun hobby to look at, like, oh, they're so beautiful, and you go about your day. But more often, you may look at these images and go, oh, they're so beautiful and fun to look at, and I'll never look like them. I need to work harder, buy different clothes, change my skincare routine, and learn how to be more beautiful. These images are almost motivating in the sense that you strive to attain them, but are detrimental in the fact that you never will. You're not a Pinterest board of curated static images. You're a person. Sometimes these idealized images are inaccessible in the sense that they're from rich, powerful celebrities. We look at airbrushed images in magazines. We look at technologically altered bodies in ad campaigns. And we know these images aren't realistic. We know the effort that goes into creating them, but something still entices us to keep wishing, something keeps stroking our insecurities. Engel actually conducted numerous studies for her book in which she presented these types of images to a pool of participants. Even the participants who utilized media literacy while looking at these idealized images of supermodels were still affected by what they were seeing. They came away from the study with lowered self-esteem. They commented that the images were unrealistic and unobtainable for everybody, even the supermodels themselves, but they still wanted to look like those images. Even if they have to remove a rib or forego healthy eating patterns, even if they know looking like that may end up killing them. But idealized images can also feign accessibility. Maybe they're not from people who have massive wealth or a team of stylists or expensive Photoshop software. Maybe you follow your friends and family and you still think everyone is prettier than you, that there must be something wrong with you, that you can't look like them, because these are accessible people who do their own makeup or dress themselves, and they do it way better than you do. We hesitate to consider these images idealized because we're like, well, they aren't supermodels, they aren't on TV, they just sit in their room and make beauty TikToks, so why can't I still look like them? Engel notes that images of our peers usually feel much more realistic than they truly are. We forget that they are posed and possibly edited the same way celebrity images are. As such, we end up comparing our actual selves and real lives to the make-believe selves and pretend lives of others. I know this probably won't even help to realize nobody is the way they look on social media. I don't edit my pictures beyond adding filters or upping the brightness. And even I don't look like that. I'm holding specific poses in my pictures. I'm making certain faces that I find flattering, wearing certain clothes that make me feel confident, and deleting every picture where I don't look my best. Seeing me in real life makes me feel more human than a static image ever could, because I'm not posing in real life. I'm not in perfect control of my expression or hair or even my outfit most times. Real life moves, and images don't. Even when our peers aren't trying to sell us beauty products the way, say, Kim Kardashian would, they still shape our reality of beauty and shift our values. Plus, it doesn't help that social media beauty ideals are largely homogenous, much like beauty standards in society and in mediums of the past, like magazines and television. White, thin, enhanced, above average, able-bodied, cis, beauty.
And it's not just like static images either. Like, video can also be like photoshopped. Like, you can still like change someone's body in video too. Like,
standards undeniably affect everyone, regardless of race or body type, but dominating discussions of beauty trends and beauty sickness often focuses on those most favored by the beauty ideal. It ignores the intersections where beauty pressure changes. It fails to ask what heat is applied to a fat black trans woman or a South Asian woman who doesn't fit her culture's idea of beauty standards. I was reading this Allure article written by Caitlin Burns, who is a trans woman, and she describes this uncertain balancing act that she feels judged by. Whenever she doesn't dress to the nines with perfect hair and makeup, she gets misgendered and told that she needs to try harder to be taken seriously as a woman. But when she does dress up like she's told to, she's accused of being a caricature of a cis woman. Black women also have their femininity questioned just by way of existing, where the darker your skin tone and the tighter your hair texture, the less woman you're deemed. The standards for appearance just gets tighter and more restricted across intersections, body type, skin texture, whether you're disabled or impoverished. It's important to include these ideals when discussing beauty because they too are instrumental in how we understand our pervasive beauty standards and our beauty sickness. If you don't know, I run a newsletter called TOE, which stands for Tragedy of Errors. It's an email server where subscribers can reply with their personal experience whenever I send out topic-related questions. I don't always send out questions because of who I am as a person, but it's been 1 year since its conception, and I love being able to hear from the 2,000 of you whenever I get the chance, and it really expands my videos. You can subscribe using the link in my bio if you want to, and I'm going to stop talking about that now. So one subscriber who I'm under the impression is Latina, from the context clues of their submission, wrote to me, "I was raised to be as close to a rich white woman as possible, because for women, beauty isn't just about pleasing. It is about survival and getting access to a fair chance. Idealized images on TikTok force me to choose. Do I choose to assimilate, or do I choose my culture?" A trans man who wishes to remain anonymous states, "Growing up being perceived as female, the importance of being quote-unquote beautiful to be considered worthy of respect was driven home from a very young age by both media and the real people surrounding me. This is not a pressure my cis men friends experience this way in their childhoods, and I often find myself envying them for being able to divest from beauty ideals with relative ease. Even now, 10 years post-transition, I feel the pressure of beauty haunting me every time I look in the mirror and fix my hair. While I have settled into a masculine gender role I am comfortable with and have lived in it for a long time, the deep desire to be seen as worthy still remains. Even if it's taken different forms, I have never felt uglier than when I am not passing." A Hispanic subscriber who describes how they were often taught by their church or family or school what women should look like explains their story. Their skin tone, weight, and hair was constantly critiqued by others to the point where their preacher worried about them spending too much time outside during the summer in case they got too dark. Don't even get me started on that. Part of their submission reads as follows. "I recently learned that I've been disabled my entire life, that I am now more disabled than my family thought. On top of it, I'm trans and brown. I've spent my entire life trying to meet standards that were designed to be against me. I was meant to fail. I still try because a part of me internalized that message. Even though I never did truly identify solely as a girl, I internalized all of it. Because I was brown and queer and disabled, it made accepting and loving myself so much harder than it should have been, because I felt like I was failing womanhood. I was failing everyone by not reaching these golden standards I was supposed to. A 17-year-old Sikh South Asian teenager writes, "Growing up, I was told to keep all of the hair on my body as per my religious rules, and it wasn't until recently that I started shaving. Lately, I've been picking up hobbies and changing my appearance, and I think it's social media's influence on me. I feel like once a month I go through that phase of making a list of clothes I like and how to get my shit together. I think of how I was raised compared to who I've become. I struggle with understanding if the change is a good thing for my own confidence or a bad thing due to all the money and time I spend looking at girls who I want to look like, especially as a brown girl where my looks are intertwined with my treatment by others. I've heard other brown women say that they experience a masculinization by society, but my experiences have involved a feeling of being exotic/fetishized, thus my aversion to alternative subcultures and the way women are previewed by them." One final subscriber wrote to me, "I'm plus sized, and this has been a thing since I was a child. There are periods where I was quote-unquote chubby, and periods where I was overweight. I remembered being as young as 6 when I realized I'm the biggest girl in my class, and that it wasn't a quote-unquote good look. This only followed me as I grew older, and I've always had issues with my body not fitting in with beauty standards in my country. I find it worrying whenever I think of how much I've succumbed to internalized misogyny, and how much worth I place into fitting in with aesthetic expectations placed on women. I don't even think I can blame patriarchy anymore. I'm not a victim, but an active participant in what I know is a capitalist ploy to benefit off of women's insecurities. It pains me to think that deep down, my academic achievements and future career mean less to me than my looks. And that's what's become of my high school self, who at least used to feel like a person. I hardly do now. The twisted thing is that it makes me happy, and I'm happier than I have ever been in my life." It's hard to condone beauty sickness in the name of let people enjoy things, because I don't think beauty sickness is enjoyable in the slightest. Who enjoys feeling like they're constantly failing and overcompensating for some perceived flaw? Beauty sickness is marked by a deep sense of insecurity and fear, one that leads to endless consumption and comparison. Engel notes that young girls begin thinking about their ideal body quite young. 34% of 5-year-old girls engage in deliberate dietary restraint at least sometimes. 28% of these girls say that they want their bodies to look like the women they see in movies. The crisis continues as they age. Around 90% of young women have no problem naming a body part with which they are unhappy. About 50% express what researchers call a global negative evaluation of their body. Beauty sickness has the potential to lead to increased beauty procedures and consumption, whether that be plastic surgery, TikTok beauty trends, or just buying an overload of cosmetic products to fix whatever problem people perceive is there. Internationally, 85 to 90% of surgical and non-surgical cosmetic procedures are performed on women. According to the American Society for Aesthetic Plastic Surgery, since 1997, the number of cosmetic surgeries obtained by women in the United States has been increased 538%. In 2015, well over $1 billion was spent on breast augmentation alone. Women are responsible for 85% of the spending on beauty products. Market research reports estimate that cosmetics brought in over $60 billion in revenue in the United States in 2015, with over $8 billion on makeup alone. Consumption and spending power is inexplicably linked to the conversation of beauty. I think the minimum price of buccal fat removal, which is a viral procedure at the moment, is around $2,000 based on a simple Google search. That's not chump change. That's more than my rent. I've also been seeing a lot of unsolicited advice from internet users to celebrities or influencers about what they need to get fixed. Someone said that Adele needs to invest in retinol to diminish the appearance of her wrinkles on her face, just because they saw a candid video of her existing. Another person tweeted that a popular influencer needs to get a breast augmentation. A large part of beauty sickness is zoning in on small, usually natural aspects of the body, like someone's natural chest size or the natural occurrence of wrinkles because everyone ages, and suggesting the spending of money in order to fix it. A lot of the beauty or aesthetic trends circulating at the moment place a great emphasis on buying things to get you closer to your desired state. As Engeln argues, ideal images of beauty almost never exist in isolation. They're paired with the products and lifestyles we associate with living the good life. To be that girl, for instance, you need to buy pretty, matching workout outfits and dad shoes. You need to maintain a complex skincare routine complete with color-coded jade rollers and 42 moisturizers. The same goes for clean girl because that's the exact same thing, now with added disdain for acne-prone skin. And so it goes the vanilla girl too. I had to look up what a vanilla girl is because my first thought was racially motivated, and I wanted to make sure TikTok wasn't about to piss me off, especially not during Black History Month. But a vanilla girl looks to be quite similar to that girl and clean girl, maybe with more emphasis on the color beige. It kind of reminds me of light
More
academia,
white.
maybe with more tank tops. The article I read to understand the vanilla girl had an interesting line that sums up this whole consumption debacle. The beauty buys you need to sport the aesthetic are already bona fide cult classics. You need to buy things to participate in this aesthetic the way you need to buy things to participate in any beauty trend. You can argue that,
oh, no one is forcing you to buy these things.
You can be that girl in unmatching thrifted gym clothes if you wanted. Just use what you have. Sure you can. At least you should be able to. But when everyone is wearing Surfshark or whatever active wear exists, I don't exercise, it's Gymshark. It is Gymshark. If everyone is wearing a Gymshark lavender crop set and they're buying all of these specific Amazon accessories and they're getting their hair treated at this expensive Los Angeles salon and they're all saying, this is what you need to look like me, this is what you need to be accepted as your ideal self, would you just wear what you have? Would you be satisfied with the possessions you have and the life you're living compared to them? Or would it feel inadequate to you, making you feel much more isolated from your trendy peers? Aesthetic trends that are treated as costumes aren't about enhancing what you already have. And I say costumes because aesthetic niches like that girl largely feel like caricatures to me. That's a key phrase. To me, they're too perfect and calculated and emphasize performing for social media rather than being. They're fun, certainly, and they look really cool to embody. This isn't me saying you shouldn't ever have interest or aesthetic values. Fuck it, we ball. But these niches are about making yourself into something you find interesting but have no real ability to be. You know, like, I think it's interesting to always be put together, to always look good, to always go to the gym and eat healthy, to always embody my perfect self and have perfect hair and expensive accessories. But I also have to pay rent, so $500 headphones are tragically at the bottom of my list. Not to mention that a lot of the motivational content that comes along with certain fitness and lifestyle niches drastically altered the way I see myself. I feel like I need to be constantly working, constantly succeeding, constantly overanalyzing, and constantly restricting my diet, and constantly exercising, and constantly wearing stylish clothing, constantly minimizing myself smaller and smaller until I fit on a 2023 manifestation board. I don't want to be that girl or vanilla girl or clean girl. I don't want to be some picture that other people pin up on their wall. I want to exist. I want to move and breathe and slouch and not care about being a girl boss always reaching peaks, always outdoing herself, always planning and color coding and ingesting and performing. I want to be a person. I want to eat soup and wear the same outfit every time I go out and not do my hair whenever I don't feel like it, and not worry about what my body looks like when I stand a certain way or how my laugh sounds or if I'm giving off divine enough energy to attract men. I don't even like them like that. All of this beauty content feels voyeuristic. Beauty sickness makes you feel, not without reason, that you are always on display. And sometimes we participate in the exhibition of ourselves for the pleasure and gaze of others, discounting how stressed it makes us feel in the process. And Gelna explains that over 40% of young women say they frequently or almost always felt like someone was evaluating their appearance. They felt on display. I'm sure some, if not a majority of the people who participate in these beauty trends and curate aesthetic identities for themselves are doing it for themselves, but social media in general is built on the idea of being looked at, the idea of performing for others even when they're not there. I've been a YouTuber for almost 3 years now, and I've been a notable YouTuber for maybe 1.5. Having hundreds of thousands of eyes on you at any given moment is cool because I love my job and I love the work that I do, but it can also be harrowing if not for the constant feeling of being gazed at. I didn't wear makeup for the first year of my channel because I just wasn't a makeup person. That's not me being pretentious or anything, I just wasn't allowed to wear a lot of makeup as a teen. But now I feel like I can't film main portions of my videos without a full face of makeup. My appearance is commented on almost as much as my thoughts are, which was very hard to get used to when my platform got bigger. I've gotten weight comments, cheap clothing insults, hair insults. Someone once called me burnt looking. So don't piss me off during Black History Month, okay? This constant surveillance is becoming a reality for everyone, regardless of platform size. Social media
YouTube comments are so unhinged, dude. They're so unhinged.
Has made us all influencers, beauty gurus, TikTokers, YouTubers, and socialites, even if we're not being paid to be. And this is increasing our beauty sickness.
By the way, in case anybody is actually here, my nails. It's black and glitterily purple. It's glitterly purple, dude. Fucking love that shit. It makes me so happy. Look at how many colors are in there. Look at. Pew, pew, pew. It's like a whole galaxy in there. Okay. Oh, hi. Would you just look at it? Incredible. How you doing? Here.
Everyone on social media is, in a sense, becoming their own mini celebrities, starring in reality shows of their lives that they are trying desperately to make beautiful at all costs. Engel compares this to a paparazzi situation. Not only do women feel pressure to look like models and celebrities, now they can even experience.
Sure, it's never ending. We're watching a Shakespeare. She's talking about like beauty ideals. There's this phrase I just learned, beauty sickness, which is just like being really obsessed with, you know, always being perfect and being perceived as, you know, beautiful. Good stuff. Good stuff. Dissecting toxic femininity. Oh, that reminds me, I should add it to my playlist.
Experience a type of anxiety previously limited to celebrities. This is increasing in the age of evolving cyberbullying, where you always have to fear that someone is taking your picture or taking a video of you whenever you're out in the wild and uploading it for the entire internet to see and make fun of. Joshua Gamson, author of The Unwatched Life is Not Worth Living, The Elevation of the Ordinary in Celebrity Culture, also takes note of this transition. They explicitly emphasize ordinariness in their paper, how celebrities are marketed as being your ordinary, everyday people, and ordinary people are marketing themselves as these larger-than-life and iconic figures. I would call this the celebritization of everyday people. Gamson would call it a transformation of celebrity culture in general. The ordinary turn in celebrity culture is ultimately part of a heightened consciousness of everyday life as a public performance, an increased expectation that we are being watched, a growing willingness to offer up private parts of the self to watchers unknown and known.
Monkey W, they're watching us.
And a hovering sense that perhaps the unwatched life is invalid or insufficient. Through this celebritization of ourselves, the idea of being watched greatly impacts how we view and present our identity. It especially impacts our need to be beautiful, to be nice to look at while we are being so steadily gazed upon. Gamson notes that we are auto-spies who see ourselves through the constant gaze of the other. And this leads us to self-objectify, creating products out of our personalities, and especially pertinent to this video, our beauty. Only a culture so tuned into its own surveillance would make the type of beauty trend videos that we do on TikTok, especially in the amount that we make them. We're becoming social media hashtags, fading trends, and mere niches compared to human beings. We don't just like these aesthetics, which would be fine as is, but we have to become these aesthetics by altering our bodies and changing our entire wardrobe. We effectively have to scrub every inch of ourselves from ourselves to become a product. Even worse, we begin to view ourselves as fragmented products, focusing only on bits and pieces of ourselves rather than the full picture. Our waist, our cheeks, our eyes. This objectification just creates a vicious cycle of desiring, aspiring, failing, and surveilling. We become ashamed of how inadequate we seem to be when it comes to being beautiful. So what do we do about this current malaise? Should I get the lighter in the bra? In truth, getting rid of beauty altogether is quite impossible, and quite frankly, it's unnecessary. Beauty isn't the problem. It's the impossible standards and the obsession this brings that is killing us. Changing the conversation of beauty to
everyone is beautiful in their own way
doesn't help either. It just reminds us that we're constantly under surveillance, that our appearance is always up for conversation. It also reminds us that we aren't beautiful because the standard to be so is purposefully unobtainable. It also ignores the billion-dollar idea that you don't have to be beautiful, or at least you shouldn't have to be in this society. Being beautiful is not your job, but the way capitalism is set up, we should be allowed to be average, considering a great majority of us on this earth are. There isn't anything particularly or inherently positive or negative about it. It should be treated like an expectation of just existing. We should be allowed to be people, not ornaments. Engel suggests turning down our obsession, if possible. It's like when you're laying in your room with the overhead light on and it's gross and overwhelming, but you turn it off and set up your lamp or some mood lighting, and suddenly the will to die is slightly digestible. We change how much we look at idealized images. We scroll when we come across certain TikToks. We turn away from the mirror. It's easier said than done, I know. That's why I hate ending these videos on solutions. Let me be negative in peace. But ever since starting my research for this video, I've been implementing certain routines into my day to try and unglue myself from the mirror. Literally, like, I give my outfit like a once over before I go, and I force myself to leave without staring at it until I hate it. I even refuse to look up beauty trend TikToks for this video, instead subjecting my subscribers to the horrors of recounting what they've encountered in the wild. I'm putting y'all to work. Healing beauty sickness is not something that can be done overnight. Honestly, in a poison culture like this, it's probably impossible, especially when you grow up being told how important it is to self-monitor your own beauty. But I think creating boundaries can be beneficial. Try to limit how many times you look in the mirror before you head out. Wait at least a week or 5 before hopping on beauty trends. Unfollow people who make you question your own appearance and worth. Try wearing at least one outfit a week where you don't have to tug and pull and monitor, and an outfit that you can sit down and film a video in. It's not foolproof, but maybe you'll become more aware of how much time, money, and energy you're putting into the mirror instead of yourself. Yeah, that's all I've got in me. I hope this video was thought-provoking, or at least very pretty to look at. Isn't my job so interesting and hypocritical? Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe or whatever. I'm sure you'll be back either way. I'm kind of hard to get rid of.
Good luck and Godspeed.
Be safe out there. Love you. Bye. Engel actually conducted why did I say it like that? Tools, not targets. Targets. Tools, not targets. Tools, not targets, dearest viewer. Market research report. Oh my god.
Life is so hard. Man, I love bloopers. It's my favorite part of anything. Never. god.
Hi, Tila. Oh, Hitler. Yes, you may
Oh shit, this is about to be real.
call me Hitler. When I meet new people, like, oh, what's your name, girl? Hitler.
In the early 2000s, Tila Tequila came bursting onto the scene as the newest sex symbol. But this time, she was doing it in a new way. See, when Anna Nicole Smith or Marilyn Monroe made their mark on the world, they were doing it through movies, commercials, or modeling. And sure, Tila dabbled a little bit with those too, even posing for Playboy like her sex symbol predecessors. But she also seemed to invent a whole new way of becoming famous: social media. And that's right, Tila Tequila was ahead of her time, amassing fans online before it was the cool thing to do. And she even created her own website to sell her images and her time. Think essentially like OnlyFans before OnlyFans. People would need special access to get to her site, and she would allow them into her secret fantasy world. Soon, she was welcomed with open arms onto the social media platform that seemed to be taking over the world at the time, which was, of course, MySpace. And there, her legacy was built.
Oh my god.
She became one of the most popular people on the site and gained a massive
Fucking
following
MySpace.
that seemed to be obsessed with her every move. This was it. She had made it. Eventually, she even got her own reality show and her career skyrocketed. However, all of this success and notoriety seemed to be relatively
Dude, when I got my MySpace, I remember that she was one of the first people I followed. One of my first parasocial relationships.
short-lived. As her reality show career that swept the nation came to end, Tila seemed to go just a bit off the rails. Out of nowhere, she was hurling out anti-Semitic comments at the speed of light, shocking everyone and forever changing the perception of her as just a
Yikes.
reality star for her millions
Whoa, they're just straight up doing a Hitler salute. Oh god.
of fans. As the years went by, everything just kept getting progressively worse, honestly. It wasn't just her anti-Semitic attitude that was rubbing pretty much everyone the wrong way.
So bad.
It was also her conspiracy theories. Gone were the days of her sex symbol status. She was now a conspiracy queen of the internet. From lizard people running the world to her being some
Dude, I really lost track of her after this. Wow, I did not know she was into, like, conspiracies. Wow. I'm learning
sort of
so
angel
much.
or goddess, she seemed to believe any and everything. The Earth is flat, 9/11 was a hoax, and alien wars would soon destroy the Earth and kill all those who didn't believe in her outlandish theories. By the day, the theories seemed to get more difficult to grasp, and she was slowly ousted from social media sites as a response. Still, Tila is a relatively well-known figure whose fall from grace has been treated less as the apparent evidence of her multiple mental health struggles and addictions, and more as a carefully planned array of publicity stunts to keep herself in the limelight. So, what exactly happened here? How did the once beloved, raunchy star become someone that instills confusion and concern for those that are still watching from a distance? How did she go from a shot at love to a shot of conspiracy theories? What is the true story behind the fall of Tila Tequila?
A shot of the Kool-Aid. She drank the Kool-Aid.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Dark Dives. I'm the
Fucking
Illuminati,
MySpace.
and today we're going to be taking a look at the
Flashbacks,
rise
dude.
and very sudden fall of Tila Tequila. Before she was spouting conspiracy theories all over the world, and even before she was named the Queen of the Internet in 2006, Tila, whose real last name is Nguyen, lived a difficult life. At just 1 year old, she and her family fled from Vietnam to immigrate to the United States. They set their roots down in Houston, Texas, and throughout her childhood, Tila's family struggled. Both of her parents worked to try and take care of the family, with her mom working as a seamstress and her father washing dishes. But no matter how hard they tried, it was almost impossible to make ends meet. The whole family shared one bed, and Tila says, at night you could literally hear all of the roaches, hundreds of them, flying around. By the time she was a teenager, Tila Tequila had solidified her role as the wild child. She would sneak out at night, party the night away, and even experienced an ecstasy drug overdose as a young woman.
God, I hate fucking cockroaches. Had a little too much Alex Jones. Yeah, I guess so. Holy shit. She went down the deep end.
Her wild streak wasn't all fun and games, and she recounts multiple instances of stealing cars, even robbing houses, none which she ever got arrested for. Some of this could just be chalked up to being a teenager. Most people make dumb mistakes when they're young, but that doesn't mean they'll turn into what Tila eventually did. But she had a dream. She wanted to be famous, and she didn't care what it took, she was going to do it. At first, her path to fame was through music, but when she was discovered by a Playboy scout, everything changed. Suddenly, she appeared on a variety of their online platforms, and she had suddenly found her way right into the limelight and the internet. She took the idea and ran with it, and little by little, she began developing a massive following and even came up with the idea to create her own website where people could buy access to her diaries, her chats, and of course, personal photos. Soon, she joined Friendster, but was eventually kicked off because of her sexual content. However, good old Tom from MySpace came to save the day. And for those who don't know, which, Lord, I'm aging myself here, Tom is the creator of MySpace, whose picture spontaneously appeared on everyone's friend list when you first made your account, and MySpace is basically now just a relic of the old internet.
Oh, Tom.
Basically, Facebook, but like with way more control and music.
Dude,
the good old days.
Whatever happened with Tom? Is he still like in tech, or is he just retired?
I miss MySpace, honestly. Anyway, reminiscing aside, MySpace became Tila's new home, and before long, she became a social media household name. She posted an endless amount of glamour shots, recorded her singing, and was a pro in interacting with her fan base.
Yeah, I remember it too.
She became known as one of
my favorite part about MySpace was how you could like code everything. Like I was a little baby coder, making my own designs and shit. Yeah, I mean, I think it was more niche. Like, I remember I found out about her from MTV, and then, yeah, then I followed her on MySpace and shit. In the top 8, yeah. Oh man.
The only models on the internet that paid special attention to her fan base, answered messages, and calling a new fan daily for a quick chat. As she told Time magazine in 2006, there's a million hot naked chicks on the internet. There's a difference between those girls and me. Those chicks don't talk back to you. And it sounds weird.
I'm not like other girls.
Weirdly pick me before that word was even like invented. Her business strategy certainly seemed to pay off though, as she quickly gained over 30 million views and 3 million friends. But this was just the beginning of social media, and she was the beginning of people learning that they could monetize themselves online for money. Before long, everyone knew who Tila Tequila was. If you logged into MySpace, you were often met with her picture placed in your friend list, even if you had never heard her name. And in many ways, you could say she was one of the first social media influencers, at least like one of the first big ones. She was selling calendars, clothing, music, and appearing in music videos and even movies. She was on top of the world and was seemingly unstoppable. And the best part? She built this on her own. Soon, reality television came knocking, and producers of a new show, Shot at Love, came begging at her door for her to be the lead that they were searching for. As a star that was seemingly so open about her sexuality, a reality dating show where she could pick between both men and women seemed tailor-made for her. At first, she admitted she was a bit skeptical. She'd become so accustomed to her world of independence, her ability to control her content, talk to her fans, and schedule her own life. But the tireless titan of self-promotion eventually caved, realizing that this was the way to make a fortune, to make herself a true household name. So A Shot at Love with Tila Tequila was born. Now, when it comes to A Shot at Love with Tila Tequila, I've got to admit this was one of those shows that when it came on, I absolutely, was watching it. I was deeply intrigued. I was probably deep in the closet and didn't figure out that maybe I wasn't all straight. So watching this, I was like, oh, what does this mean? Why am I feeling a certain way right now? But it was a show that I also most certainly hid from my parents. You know, they'd be like, what are you watching? And I'm like switching channels. I'm like, the weather. The weather is very interesting right now. Thank you so much for asking. But really the point I want to make here is something like this didn't really exist on TV, especially not showcasing someone who was bisexual. I don't know if you guys remember, and again, maybe this is me aging myself, but back in the early 2000s and stuff, being bisexual was pretty taboo still. And if you were bi or, essentially into men and women or, into just literally not one person or one type of person. It was almost like some people would, like if you were bi, people were like, well, you're just doing it for attention. It was like a whole thing. I don't know if y'all remember that, but I do. That shit really scared me. It was very intimidating, honestly. So to see a show like this pop up like mainstream was a huge deal. Like, it was really cool. But anyway, I digress. By the time of her groundbreaking reality...
Dude, yeah. I remember thinking she was so cool for just being like bi and like out and like really not putting together the pieces. Like, oh, like I like think she's cute. Like fuck.
TV show debut, Tila was already a massive cultural phenomenon. She was one of the first to make the jump from social media fame to TV notoriety, and the whole world was taking notice. She was profiled by Time magazine and the New York Times. Everyone seemed enthralled by the woman who seemingly went from nobody to somebody in the blink of an eye. A Shot at Love with Tila Tequila was groundbreaking in many ways. The hectic and, dare I say, raunchy reality TV series caught the world by surprise, but it did more than that. Because, as I said, for many people, it brought a sense of visibility to bisexuality, something that was severely lacking back in 2007. Sure, it wasn't the greatest portrayal in the world, but with very few other opportunities for bisexuals to be shown in any light in the media, many took what they could get. Of course, not everyone was immediately thrilled with this new form of a dating show, and Tila was faced with some near immediate backlash from Christian news sites because, of course they would. And I know, that never happens anytime a new group of people suddenly get a chance for a shot in the limelight. Who would have ever thought this would have happened? But anyway, an article released by the Christian Post shortly after the new reality show was announced displayed a predictable array of homophobia and unfounded concerns about what a show would do for the children. Because we must protect the children, right? Jeff Johnston, an apparent gender issue analyst with Focus on the Family, a Christian group that massively opposes same-sex couples and pushes for traditional family values, which whatever the fuck that's defined as, decided to add this little tidbit to the conversation, saying, "Men and women are made in the image of God, and our masculinity and femininity reflect something of his wonder and glory. So it's no wonder the enemy attacks this area and works to create confusion, brokenness, and lust." Now, listen here, Jeff. Can I call you Jeff? Well, I really don't care. I'm gonna call you Jeff. I don't really think that it's that serious, my guy. It was an MTV show designed to specifically make money and be as entertaining as physically possible. It's MTV, that's what they do, especially back in that day. Do you remember like Date My Mom and stuff? Like, no problem there, I guess? Like, whatever.
Oh my God,
Meet my bootylicious son, Nick.
I don't think they really cared about attacking Christianity, but like, go off, I guess. You gotta be offended by something, right? Still, despite the predictable outcry by Christian people shocked to see a bisexual woman get her own show, it pushed on and became a massive success. So much so that it debuted as the #1 show for MTV with their target audience and went on for 2 more seasons. Yes, it was officially a cultural phenomenon, much like Tila Tequila herself. But it wasn't all rainbows and butterflies, as reports started trickling in that something might be amiss. Gossip papers and columns began to speculate that the whole show and Tila herself were a fraud. Since the entire premise of the show relied on her sexuality, it was an important aspect of the show itself and its popularity. However, questions began to emerge if the MySpace star's sexuality was true or all for show. Page 6, and I know, not reputable, but I mean, I'm sorry, but we're talking about kind of internet celebrity here. They released an article that claimed to have an inside source that said her bisexuality was a sham. According to them, she's made out with some girls in her past, as all girls have, but she is not bi at all. Of course, this could be taken as bi erasure or a serious misunderstanding of her and bisexuality as a whole. At least, that's what you would relatively hope, because who lies about their sexuality for a TV show? But in 2018, Tila announced that this was exactly what she did, saying, "As a matter of fact, I was never bisexual. The truth comes out."
Oh my God, I didn't know this. She was literally just bi-baiting? Oh my God, heartbreak, dude.
I was never a lesbian, I was never gay. It was all gay for pay. When I was filming that reality show, I had a boyfriend for the entire 2 seasons. And as a quick note, I want to say that would have been fine if Tila was an actor playing a role in a movie or a show or whatever. We don't have to question an actor's sexuality for a role. But this wasn't a role. This was supposed to be Tila playing herself. This was basically just queerbaiting before that word even existed. And I know that reality TV is mostly, if not entirely faked, but this one was just a little bit upsetting. Yes, the show was not a wonderful representation of bisexuality, considering it definitely hypersexualized it and played into very harmful stereotypes. But at least it was some sort of representation when nearly nothing existed. Something that had never really been seen by a lot of mainstream media and their viewers, and suddenly to find out years later that someone just faked it all for the show is horrendously disappointing and lends itself to some incredibly common stereotypes that bisexuals are just faking their sexuality. So absolutely not a fan of this behavior.
Yeah,
however, when it comes to Tila Tequila, this is actually the least worrying thing about her. As she was unceremoniously replaced from the show after the first 2 seasons, her life and fame went downhill fast, and the list of harmful, deplorable, and horrific things she has done and said seems to grow by the minute. It was a wild ride, and the fall from grace was rapid. So let's begin to explore that. Life quickly changed for Tila after her reality career tapered off. Seemingly desperate to stay in the public limelight, she became a fixture in gossip magazines, seemed to appear anywhere and everywhere for the paparazzi to snap a few pics, and went back to her previous business plan of uploading personal videos and pictures to remain relevant. Meanwhile, her life seemed to be falling apart around her. In September of 2010, she found herself in a heated and extremely public array of lawsuits with her NFL ex-boyfriend after she had accused him of choking and physically restraining her. After the San Diego district attorney declined to move forward with any criminal charges against him, she sued him for $1.5 million. In response, he sued her for $2 million, which he actually eventually won. Then, shortly after, Tila was hit with a wave of grief when her fiancé, Casey Johnson, unexpectedly died. The relationship between the two had repeatedly been speculated to be a publicity stunt, which, after Tila's announcement that she was in fact not bisexual or gay, would not be far from a stretch. But still, Tila seemed overwhelmed with grief and began posting regularly about her trials before spontaneously posting on Twitter, "For now, I must disappear for a few months. Tila Tequila, a legend in the making, the saga continues." And just, who the fuck refers to themselves in third person or calls themselves a legend in the making?
Strange.
But I digress. Now, even after that statement, she found herself in the news yet again just a month later in a bizarre circumstance. For some reason, she had decided to attend the Gathering of the Juggalos concert, which, if you may or may not know, was a show dedicated to the Insane Clown Posse, who infamously has one of the rowdiest fan bases I've ever seen. Before arriving at the event, Tila was made aware that she wouldn't be received well by the crowd, and if she ever felt uncomfortable, she was more than welcome to leave the stage. They even paid her in advance, but she still decided to go on and inexplicably removed her top in response to them booing her, which Juggalo Gathering LLC said seemed to mock and further antagonize the crowd. Suddenly, people in the audience began throwing rocks, glass bottles, firecrackers, and even human waste at the singer. It became clear that Tila was certainly not universally loved in the environment. Everything was quickly spiraling out of control, and Tila soon found herself in rehab and announced that she had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Shortly after, she began spewing hateful rhetoric and rubbing everyone the wrong way, all likely in the name of fame, by the way. By 2011, the transition from MySpace star to reality TV phenomenon to a conspiracy theorist with disgusting viewpoints and behavior seemed to be in full swing. Now, I want to just give a quick warning here that the next few minutes are going to contain some absolutely atrocious and abhorrent language about Jewish people. Tila Tequila's anti-Semitism is horrific, and she goes from idolizing Hitler to saying some deeply upsetting things about Jewish people. Given the current rise in anti-Semitism and rhetoric about this and near constant discussion of the topic, if all of this seems to be just a little too much for you at the moment, feel free to just skip ahead to the next section.
It's a lot. It's a lot. A lot is happening. Oh my god. Did y'all see the fucking CPAC? Holy shit. We need to watch Trump's speech, probably. At least some highlights. Maybe we'll do that like Tuesday. But they're literally just like outright calling for genocide of trans people. That's like a core talking point among all of them. It's like a part of the platform for the next election season. So that sucks. Who was it? I think it was the who was it? Fucking the governor of Tennessee, I think, I want to say. He literally said that we need to, how did he say it? Eradicate transgenderism from the everywhere, from the culture, from the society, or whatever. Let me find it. Michael Knowles. Eradicated. Yeah. Eradicate transgenderism. It's just outright genocidal rhetoric. Trans people have been literally saying it's a genocide, but we haven't believed them. CPAC speaker calls for transgender people to be eradicated. Fucking Michael Knowles. He's such a piece of shit. Yeah, oh yeah, and then he said he never said that, even though it's like literally on video. Yeah, and people applauded. So when I said transgenderism should be eradicated, I didn't mean trans people. I just said that they shouldn't exist. Why are you all defaming me? I demand retractions. Lance is based. Love Lance. Yeah, like, dude, Mia Mulder, based. Damn, it's been a while since we've had straight up, we need to eliminate you language. Anyway, if you want to eliminate my transgenderism, I will meet that attempt with gunfire. Based. Mia, I think, is Polish? Is that right? Solatuna. Solatuna. I don't remember. Somewhere in Europe. Yeah. Very bad, not good.
Tila grew her presence online again. She began relying on a new style of communication, blogging. Unfortunately, that gave way to one of the most repulsive blog articles I've ever read in my entire life, entitled Why I Sympathize with Hitler, Part 1, True History Unveiled.
What?
In it, Tila goes on a disgusting rant that sympathizes with Nazism and horrifyingly downplays the torment, kidnapping, and systematic murder of Jewish people during the Holocaust. This includes her saying things like, and I quote, this is a direct quote, I understand
No. What the fuck? Dude. First, it was Kanye, and now I'm learning it was Tila first. Tila Tequila did it first, and Kanye stole her bars. God damn it.
The Jewish people went through some shit too. But hey, guess what? So did the majority of people.
Oh yeah, so just to show you the Twitter discourse. Oh my god, it goes so far back. Oh god. Okay. I think I found the beginning. So it starts here. And we discoursed all the way until, like, mid-afternoon today. We were deep in discourse. We were discoursing so hard, dude. Oh god.
Who suffered in every single war that took place. You were not the only ones. So please, if the rest of us can forgive and forget, maybe it's time you do also. And sometimes I just don't even know where to start. And this is one of those moments. Obviously, this is wrong. Asking people to just get over the Holocaust, in which millions of people lost their loved ones, their rights, and their homes, is insane. Equating it to other wars is also an abysmal ideal. Yes, all wars are horrific, but this one in particular, this one was built purely on hatred of certain people. That is a legacy that lives on forever and just can't be thrown to the side. Not now, not ever. Unfortunately, she continues and describes her belief that Hitler was merely a misunderstood leader who was trying to do the right thing for a country in their desperate time of need. Never mind the fact that his way of, quote, helping the country was to attempt to murder all people outside of his preferred group. He turned the country against Jewish people not out of desperation to save the Germans, but out of a deluded hatred and vendetta against them. He wasn't there to help anyone. He was there to cause as much destruction as he could, a fact that Tila clearly would like to ignore, as she perpetuates the very idea that Hitler did when she said that Germany had been infiltrated by the enemy. If you'd like to read the blog, it's in my sources, but just know that it is by far one of the most disgusting things I've read so far. But Tila was evidently unapologetic about this viewpoint, and she defended it tooth and nail. At one point, she released a picture of herself donning a sexualized Nazi uniform with an armband and cap, holding a gun, and standing in front of what is obviously meant to be a concentration camp. This was apparently perfectly reasonable in her mind. She was also particularly fond of using Twitter to spew anti-Semitic bullshit, even one time tweeting that Ben Shapiro should be, quote, gassed. Yes, Tila was entirely unforgiving about her language and behavior. What? That is, until she, for some unknown reason, got another shot of reality TV stardom on Big Brother in 2015. Why we would give someone who had a history of this type of behavior yet another platform, I don't know, but Big Brother thought it was a splendid idea, apparently. According to a representative for Channel 5 in the UK, which hosted Celebrity Big Brother—
That literally made me choke. What the fuck? Literally insane. Literally full Nazi. What the fuck?
They said they were unaware of her viewpoints when they cast her, which seems to be incredibly difficult to believe considering how open and consistent she has been with them. Still, the rep said, unfortunately, Channel 5 and production company Endemol did not know about the views and attitudes Tila had expressed in social media postings prior to her involvement in Celebrity Big Brother. When they were brought to our attention, she was called to the diary room for a discussion with producers and was subsequently removed from the house. Upon her release from the show, Tila apologized, and in a statement she wrote, "Back in 2013, I made a statement about Hitler not being a bad person and immediately realized soon after that I had made a terrible mistake that would ultimately come back to haunt me. During that time, I had been suffering from severe depression and drug addiction for many years prior to that." She goes on to say that she isn't proud of her mistakes and is not a Nazi supporter, a racist, or anti-Semitic. So let's just break this down a little bit here, right? If she had immediately realized it was a mistake for her to write the blog about Hitler, then why did she keep up the anti-Semitic comments? Like the one about Ben Shapiro, or the pictures of her in a Nazi outfit. It just doesn't seem like someone that knew immediately that they were wrong. And for the record, I am sympathetic to her struggle with mental health issues and addiction issues. Both are extraordinarily difficult and hard to deal with in life. But as we discussed with Kanye in one of the past episodes, they do not make you anti-Semitic. These thoughts, beliefs, and ideals need to exist outside of your mental health disorder. A mental health disorder does not cause those things. Just because you are bipolar does not mean that you're also a Nazi supporter. The two are not related. Still, her apology was very short-lived. 2 months after the lackluster apology, she decided to post a picture of her baby daughter with a Hitler-esque mustache, writing in the caption, "One day when you grow up, you're going to have to apologize for this picture, young lady. It will come back to haunt you." Just 1 year later, she appeared again, this time at an alt-right convention, where she had been seen doing the Nazi salute with two men, posting a picture—
Why would you do that to a fucking baby? What the fuck?
—that said Sieg Hitler as the caption. And I don't know about you, but it still seems like she idolizes Hitler just fine to me. And yes, this certainly does not sound like someone who is actually apologetic for her actions, nor like someone that's ever going to change either. Her anti-Semitism seems to only grow through the years, getting bolder and more open by the second. But it's not the only concern that grows when you talk about Tila Tequila. Despite being banned on Twitter, she continues to be in the limelight within certain groups, and is slowly but surely turning into a conspiracy queen, spreading her ideas and beliefs to nearly 1.9 million followers on Facebook.
Shalom, look at this. God made this for me. He makes everything for me. Scriptures literally says, all things were made for her and through her.
Now, unfortunately for Tila Tequila, her downward spiral has involved a plethora of bizarre stories that she pushes out to her new array of loyal fans. maybe some joined her for the theories themselves to support her horrific anti-Semitism, or just for a bit of entertainment. Regardless, she has certainly amassed a following that could leave anyone feeling concerned considering her antics. At one point, and around the same time she had written her atrocious piece regarding Hitler, she wrote something else, accusing George W. Bush of being a clone. She wrote, "I am writing this article for a free internet medium in order to help the people understand. George W. Bush is no human. He is not the son of his alleged parents. He is a cloned president. The clone president." And yeah, that's one of the more ridiculous claims I've heard, but it's far from her only theory. She seems to have a special inclination to lean on the common theories of QAnon, such as the world being run by lizard people, Satanists, and Zionists, and of course, the commonly held conspiracy theory that World War II and 9/11 were orchestrated by those very same lizard people, something called the New World Order. And, you know, the Illuminati and all that kind of shit. And considering that my name is a little goof and a gaff off of the Illuminati by spelling it all, you know, Funky Town, I'm pretty sure that if she ever gets her hands on this, she'll be like, "Oh my God, Blair is a lizard person." And I'm like, babes, can you, like, just keep that shit contained over there on your little corner of Facebook? Like, this is why people do not go on Facebook anymore, okay? Like, sorry. But I'm not sorry. Anyway, though, she goes a little further with this whole, like, New World Order orchestrating World War II and 9/11. She also suggests that Paul Walker's death was also somehow part of this big overarching plot, which, frankly, that's a new one to me. I haven't heard that little twist yet. But she also holds some of her own theories that came just out of the clear blue sky. She believes that she's a descendant of an alien race, while also at the same time a queen, angel, and the latest iteration of the Egyptian goddess Isis. Additionally, she also claims she can travel back in time and believes that there is a space battle coming in which all of her Facebook haters, who she calls brainwashed propagandists, are going to die. So yeah, I think you could argue that her theories are, a little bit intense, but she sticks to them through thick and thin regardless of the questioning. Even after all her predictions failed to come to fruition, considering that she predicted the space battle would occur in 2020, she holds strong. She believes that she and what she calls her council of alien saviors will one day need to save humankind. And just, how does anyone take her seriously in any context? Like, why are we doing this? Why are we encouraging this behavior? This is not okay. Now, in 2022, when her Instagram and Twitter accounts were both banned, Tila has turned to YouTube to continue pushing outlandish theories that are wildly concerning. She claims to be the hidden bride of Christ and has joined the growing amount of people that claim the earth is flat. Through all of this, she still tries to build on her career. As her conspiracy theories grow, her dreams of one day becoming a singer have not fallen by the wayside either. In fact, in 2019, she created a GoFundMe in an attempt to raise money for creating a gospel album, and I'm not kidding, that was a real thing. It was unsuccessful, I might add. As she has seemingly spiraled out of control throughout the years, though, one thing does remain abundantly clear. No one is there to help her. She's been open about her struggles with addiction, bipolar disorder, and even split personalities, but her antics have caused most of the public to respond to her in a less than compassionate manner, concerned for a woman that so clearly needs help, but as a form of entertainment. Which, after her anti-Semitic comments, is both not shocking at all and extremely frustrating at the exact same time. She has slowly become just another celebrity who fell down the rabbit hole as the world watches on in horror. Unfortunately, the same thing that led her to her incredible rise in popularity may have also exacerbated her downfall. As a writer for Digital Trends puts it, having an unfiltered soapbox can exacerbate mental health issues by feeding young celebrities' desire for attention and validation. And sadly, Tila's story is not unique, as we have seen with many celebrities who've fallen down a similar path. Incoherent ramblings, disgusting posts, and the spreading of outlandish conspiracy theories automatically seem to come with a new sense of notoriety and attention, when in reality, it should lead to help. If one thing is clear, it's clear that Tila is in need of that. Treating her as a sideshow or a laughingstock isn't going to just make the problem go away, it's just going to exacerbate it. But for now, she remains as a cautionary tale, and we will likely continue watching on in shock as she continues to fall further into the darkness. But with all of that being said, that is where we're going to end today's episode of Dark Dives. I hope you learned something new here today. Thank you so much for your time in joining me for today's episode, and I look forward to chatting with you in the next one. Bye.
Okay, maybe a little intermission. A little dance break. A little, get a little heavy there.
Un, due, tre, quattro.
Oh god, the mouth sounds.
No quick head in my bed, I can't have that. Want that long neck, no talking giraffe neck. Ain't no laying down, man, we about to have late fun. I'm about to make your balls tick up like space buns. Want your dick soaked? Place it down my throat. Tongue tickle your dick, but not telling a joke. Paddle in this pussy, that's how you rock a boat. Get live in this pussy, I'm not talking Periscope. In the sheets, I am a bully. Get more head than a hoodie. Every time you make me come, it looks just like vanilla pudding. Sit on your face all day till you say they hurt me. Then I turn around and give the dick more kisses than Hershey's. Yo, dick brick hard like a metal. I got 3 holes for it like a pretzel. Tight as a virgin, boy, don't get nervous. I'm here to serve you customer service. I save dick by giving a CPR. I save dick by giving a CPR. Put my mouth on it like CPR. Let's make porn and watch it on VCR. I think we should fuck up in every zip code. It would make a pussy wetter than a fish bowl. Pussy a kitty cat, I pet it like a pet. I fuck doggy style so much I need to go to the vet. Hot box more like a scorching pussy. Open this coochie up like a fortune cookie. Peel banana in my mouth, watch my tongue go 8. Your dick getting more blows than a birthday cake. When I'm near it, no I don't fear it. Licking on that penis like a letter when I feel it. Today way better than my past vlog. And if you want a point, I can give you an ass job. Pussy already wet, don't need no lube ointment. Dick twisting in my stomach like food poisoning. That's how you know when you hit the spot. I'll make your pants unzip more than Ziploc. Yo, dick brick hard like a metal. I got 3 holes for it like a pretzel. Tight as a virgin, boy, don't get nervous. I'm here to serve you customer service. I save dick by giving a CPR. I save dick by giving a CPR. Put my mouth on it like CPR. Let's make porn and watch it on VCR. Anything goes when you open my hole. Dirty panties from the sex, yeah, I got me some loads. Listen, I'm the most explicit. Long steak inside my river, but we not going fishing. Know what to do every time you have a horrible day. I'll eat that sausage all day like it's Memorial Day. I'm talking barbecue sauce and mustard on it. And the mayonnaise comes when you bust right on it. Name anything freaky and you know I'm about that shit. Only time I'm not on the dick is when I'm about to shit. Pubic hair's all in my mouth, not again. So when I suck your dick now I use bobby pin. Who need a gym when you got dick to work you out? I want my face to lose weight, so stroke my mouth. And anytime my pussy wanna be hairy like Harry Potter, Becky with the good hair is what you could call it. Let's get it. A little faster. A little more. Right there. Give it to me now.
Oh man, people think that just cause we can't talk yet, that we babies don't got something to say. But we do. Look. We ain't the same, cause I got no shame. All that I own is my little name. When I be teasing, it hurts, so I'm screaming. I wake up your daddy, I'm having bad dreams. I'm holding my blanket, you're holding your bills. I'm sipping my bottle and having no spills. Ain't scared of your boss, I'm scared of the dark. Head baby in charge, take me to the park. Yeah, I got little arms, who cares? I put my toes in my mouth, who cares? The only thing that it seems I can do is go down the stairs. I'm playing with blocks while you're checking your stocks. My life is just starting while you're just departing. The doctor said, oh, what a sweet little baby. Girl, you don't know me. Maybe. It's too early to tell. One day I'll be grown and I'll be on my own. But for now I'm a baby. For now I'm a baby. I'll walk on 2 feet and I'll choose what I'll eat. But for now I'm a baby. For now
Listen. This is a parody song made by Garrett Watts. Wait. This isn't the, wait. Oh god. Oh no. Hold on. I thought I added his version that had, like, the music video, but I think it's funny. I mean, this whole playlist is just meme songs, if we're being real. We should play this one more, though. It's a good one.
I tell you what to do. You gotta talk to the workers in the shop with you. You gotta build you a union and make it strong. Yeah, if we all stick together, it won't be long. We'll get shorter hours, better working conditions, vacations with pay. Yeah, we can go to the seashore. It ain't quite this simple. I better explain just why you got to ride on the union train. Cause if you wait for the boss to raise your pay, yeah, we'll all be waiting till the judgment day. Yeah, we'll all be buried and gone to the heavens. And old St. Peter, he'll be the strong boss then. Now you know you're underpaid. The boss says, no way. They speed up the work till you're about to faint. You'll be down and out, but you ain't beaten. You can pass out a leaflet and call a meeting. You can talk it over and speak your mind and decide to do something about it. Yeah, you got a union now and you're sitting pretty. Put some of the kids on the steering committee. The boss won't listen when one guy squawks, but yeah, they gotta listen when the union talks. Oh, they're gonna be so lonely when the union decides to walk on them. Suppose they're working you so hard, it's just outrageous. And now they're paying you starvation wages. You step up to the boss would yell, before I raise your pay, I'll see you all in hell. Now they're puffing a cigar and feeling mighty slick. Cause now they think they got your union licked. Well, they look out the window, what do they see? But 1,000 pickets held by you and me. Oh, now, baby, it's the hardest time. The boss will try to bust your picket line. They'll call the police. They'll call the National Guard. And they tell you it's a crime to have a union card. Amazon labor union, here's what they found. Starbucks workers united, here's what they found. Amazon labor union, here's what they found. Starbucks workers united, here's what they found. You'll win, take it easy. You'll win, take it easy. You'll win, take it easy. You'll win.
So good. Oh, this song's so good too. Oh, I love all these songs. Okay. Well, you can stop it now.
All the things I love seem to defeat me.
love their music videos so much.
I don't wanna do shit except smoke weed, sex, and watch TV.
The Stoner Nuns.
Tired of being
Iconic.
motivated, consume all my life. I've had close to 30 jobs and still the minute writes. Then sometimes I see your face and everything is dry. What's the point in going on? Yeah, who stays up at night waiting for me to arrive? Waiting for me to.
Such a pretty song.
Lately I've been going through shit. All the things I love seem to defeat me. I don't wanna do shit.
Dude. Oh my god, a fucking fly just went up my nose. What the fuck?
Except smoke weed, sex, and watch TV. I've been feeling stupid, but it's hard to make great things look easy. I don't wanna do shit except smoke weed, sex, and watch TV.
Trying not to lose it, finding what the truth is. Tone my ego down. This tug of war, spirit and skin. The time that you came around was when I really needed balance. Turn up the TV right now.
Dude, I want a longboard again.
Cause you're the one with all the talent. All I ever do is try hearing you out when you got a follow.
so
You know
fun.
that jigger's bigger to me. Tired of 9 to 5, too much time to
I wasn't really that good, but
I gotta slide when I
it was
know
fun
you're
as
coming
fuck.
like medication for me. I take a ride, I am so over this week.
Lately I've been going through shit. All the things I love seem to defeat me. I don't wanna do shit except smoke weed, sex, and watch TV. I've been feeling stupid, but it's hard to make great things look easy. I don't wanna do shit except smoke weed, sex, and watch TV.
I almost died on a longboard once. This shit was crazy. I was drunk as fuck. It was like the 4th of July. And we went on like a I don't know, just a drive to go smoke weed and shit. And there was just this one hill. It looked particularly good for skating down. So I decided to skate down it. Not thinking that, like, yeah, it's like a holiday, so there's probably going to be a lot of traffic. Because it was like a highway. It was just like 55 in that area, but like still not my best decision, probably. I made it about like halfway down this like pretty steep hill, and I started wobbling hard, and I was like, shit, like I'm gonna have to bail, like this is wobbling way too hard. Like I was trying to like curve and it was helping until a car started coming the other way, so I had to only curve like in the right side, like the right lane. And then it was going too fast. I was going fast as fuck. I did manage to like take a few steps before just like tumbling and like rolling, but like yeah, I still have scars from that shit. Like I don't know, wait, was it this side? Yeah, you can kind of see it. There's like a spot like right there, and there's like another one on my hip. That shit was like a close call. That could have been like really bad. And the board was fine too. I like stepped off when it was like I was curving like towards the outside of the road, so when I stepped off it just like ran into the ditch. Yum dumb and drunk.
The men, they were from Mars. The women, they were from Venus. The men looked in their telescopes and they saw the women on Venus. And then the two came and got onto Earth somehow.
Yeah, I don't recommend boarding drunk in general, yeah. It's probably a bad move.
Oh, even though you can't make human beings without it doesn't matter. Anyway, this is a metaphor, you dumb. So in the 90s, along with the rise of the self-help industry and the birth of yours truly. Stand up, what's up, what's up? There was a relationship self-help book by relationship counselor John Gray, PhD. Now, you will understand in a moment why I'm putting those in heavy quotes, but needless to say, John Gray's book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, was a New York Times bestseller. Some people say that it spent 200 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list, others say 235, but between 1992 and 99, John Gray was selling a lot of copies of this damn book, okay? At least 7 million in the US. But not only did he do that, because you know grifters can't just sell one thing to you. They gotta sell you a lot of stuff. Like a CD with exercises attached to the book, or that you buy separately, I think. It was like $40 in 90s money. That's wild. A board?
Oh, yeah, it just wasn't full enough.
Game. Imagine a Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus board game. What on earth? There was even a short-lived talk show based off the book with Sybil Shepherd, apparently. But either way, why are we talking about John Gray in this book that came out in 92, 31 years ago? Sorry, you ever just catch your age? Hello.
Yeah,
okay.
It'd be like that.
We're talking about it because John Gray is a grifter. Whether it's writing books or talking in the media or being a politician or having a podcast, folks like John Gray, the gender essentialist grifters is what I like to call them, use and double down on this fundamental belief in the differences between men and women and continue to sell books, talk on TV, rise up the ranks in politics, and have podcasts, etc. off of this grift. So I just wanted to clarify and say that with some of these people in the media that I'm using, just to explain and be clear about my intentions, I know that some of these people do really believe in gender essentialism, like they're not doing it as a grift. They happen to also be making money off of whatever. But still, the reason that I'm including them is because it'll make more sense towards the end of the video, but I talk about this restrictive idea of living and existing. For people that complain so much about fascism and queer people and the woke leftists telling them how to live their lives and what to do and being very restrictive, which I can understand there are aspects of that, which you find on any extreme. But for people that are peddling that, they don't seem to see how restrictive their ideas of man and woman are and why people want to live outside of the bounds of that. Like, to them, it doesn't make sense because they haven't thought maybe there's another possibility. People like to use gender as the last stop for their internal investigating of who they are, how they are, and what makes them that way. It's a lot easier to blame your aggression, or not even blame. Maybe you think it's a good attribute. If you attribute your aggression to being a man, it doesn't require any further investigating into what did your social environment have to play into that. What genetics might you have that have played into that? You know, how were your parents or whoever was watching you or not watching you in the house? What media did you consume? People that think in this way already, to me, by the way that they speak, have such a limited, and I don't mean limited as in an insulting, derogatory way. I just mean, as I'm observing it, they seem to have a very limited and restrictive box of what the genders are, based off of sex and nothing else. And because of that, if you think outside of that box, that's
usually most of it. Most of it.
Absolute insanity. And I understand. Like I said, I used to think that I would never identify outside of the gender binary. When my friend first told me that they were using they, them pronouns, and this is like almost a decade, not a decade ago, but like almost. I was like, could be me, girl. I love being a girl. And the more investigating I did, the more I was like, what exactly does this even mean? Besides my sex, which is fine. Like, I know what's going on down in between me down there. But there are so many other things that make me who I am, that make you who you are, that make all of us who we are, not just one thing. I'll talk about this more towards the third
God, Khadijah's so fucking based.
part of the video, but I just really wanted to capture this rare moment of sun in Montreal. Okay, let's get back into it. So we're gonna unpack and analyze a few things. But before we do that, bonjour, nekum, hi. My name is Khadijah, nieces, nephews, nibblings, aunties, uncles, piblings. Y'all know what to do, but if you're new, feel free to take a look around, suss out the vibe. I just sit on my floor and talk about whatever I want. And yeah. If you want sources, all of that will be linked in the description. If you want to follow my socials, because a lot of y'all ask me about that, they'll be linked in the description as well. And I sell merch, so if you want to check that out, I know, the audacity of me talking about grifting. Well, I actually believe in the shit I'm talking about. Anyway, you know what? Let's give a shout out to the sponsor, and then let's get into the nonsense, okay?
For all sorts of reasons.
For all sorts of reasons.
Yeah.
None of them being
Well,
biological.
we just decided.
None of them being the XY chromosome. None of them being you have testicles. None of them being you have a penis. None of them being the fact that you generally gravitate towards male activities like boxing, kickboxing, aggressive things.
We just went through this whole thing.
So what exactly is gender essentialism? A definition from oxfordreference.com. The belief that males and females are born with distinctively different natures, determined biologically rather than culturally. This involves an equation of gender and sex. In simple terms, it's a fundamental belief that men and women just aren't the same. We are literally from different planets, like John Gray said. The men, they were from Mars. The women, they were from Venus. The men looked in their telescopes and they saw the women on Venus. And then the two came and got onto Earth somehow, even though you can't make human beings without it doesn't matter. Anyway, this is a metaphor, you dumb bitches. The men and the women came together and came to Earth and forgot that they were from different planets, but that's why the two genders just can't seem to get it. They can't understand each other because they're from completely different planets. Duh, girl. I low-key am scared that John Gray thinks this metaphor is real. I'm really concerned. Anyway, apart from thinking that men and women are literally from different planets and that's why they are so different, there's this theme with gender essentialists and with John Gray as a specific example of using the anecdotal as evidence. And what I mean by that is his entire book is mostly anecdotal evidence of his experience with his wife. Unlike Terrence Reals' How Can I Get Through to You, that is also a relationship advice book, but actually talks about patriarchy. John Gray's Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus is a women's book. It's a book to help women relate to men, but it's more so John just telling women, men just aren't going to change. This is how men are. And if you want to actually get a man and if you want to be with one, you have to know that they're from a different planet. You have to know that they're just different. And by that, I mean, you have to understand that men don't talk about their feelings. That's women's stuff. Men need you to just explain everything to them. They need you to explain shit. The very first story he tells in this is about how his wife was pregnant, and shout out to If Books Could Kill for this summary because I could not go through this whole book. But the very first story is his wife is in pain because she just had a baby, and 5 days later he goes back to work. She's in pain. She calls his brother to ask for painkillers. He forgets to bring them. John comes home and she's upset because she's like, I've been in pain all day. It seems like nobody cares. And he's upset thinking that she's mad at him and is like, well, you didn't tell me, blah, blah, blah. And so he gets ready to leave and she's like, no, please don't leave. I need you. Still 1 foot out the door, I guess. And she's like, you are a fair weather friend, John Gray. She's like, when I'm sweet, you're fine to be with me. But when I'm not, and I need you the most. Right now is when I need you the most. I need you to come here and hold me. She literally spells out what she needs for him. And she's been married to him and he's in his 40s at this time. So she spells it out completely and he goes, what? And he says that this is what got him to realize that he could change. But later in the book, he says the thing that men hate most is women that try to change them. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the person that you're with needing to communicate their needs to you and tell you, hey girlie, I need a bit of this, or I need this, to teach you how to love them. Because everyone's different and you can't apply the same things to everyone. That's fair. But to decide to make a whole book, not just through your anecdotal, but as a way to tell women, this is what you need to do. Like Bonnie did that for me. So now women, you need to do this. The onus is on y'all to get your stuff together, to tell men what you want. But you have to tell them in a certain way, and you have to appreciate everything they do, and you have to coddle them because that's what men need, because men are fundamentally different and they're not going to get it. When in actuality, it just seems like John Gray doesn't get it. And maybe wasn't the best partner to his wife at that time. I don't know what their relationship is like now, but sir. Along with this fundamental difference and this using of this anecdotal experience throughout the whole book to justify the differences between men and women being from completely different planets, there's this real deep commitment to this Western colonial traditional gender roles, the nuclear family. If somebody is a gender essentialist, they're like, well, men are just supposed to be this way. They provide, they take care of, they are the strength. Women are going to be the providers as well, but in a softer way. And they complement men. And this is how the nuclear family is able to progress and stay together well, because they have the yin and yang. Instead of possibly considering that all humans, all of us, should have both of those qualities within us to develop relationships that actually allow for a partnered model, because one allows for a partnered model and one allows for a dominator model, but we'll get to that in a second. The reason that I call John Gray a grifter is not just because of the podcast that I listen to. It's because I did go and look for other sources to try to see if this man was a legitimate relationship counselor, because if he's peddling himself as one and talking about the fundamental difference between men and women and trying to give people relationship advice and save marriages, he's got to have some sort of credentials, right? John Gray received his bachelor's and master's degree in Science of Creative Intelligence, and apparently sources vary on whether it was received from a non-credited school called the Maharishi European Research University in Switzerland, or if it was from the accredited school of the Maharaji International University in Fairfield, Iowa. He was touring and hanging out with the Maharaj Mahesh Yogi. People know him from the Beatles. But he was touring, hanging out with him for like 7-9 years. So Jesus. I guess that's why he got that degree. I've never heard of a degree in Science of Creative Intelligence. I'm not saying I would be opposed to it, but something in the milk ain't clean. And now his PhD. So John Gray got his PhD from Columbia Pacific University in 1982. That is a now defunct institution. It was a correspondence school, which meant that you didn't have to, there was no actual university, no space, and it was accredited for a few years. So he technically got his degree, his PhD from there before it was defunct, but people aren't really sure if there isn't really a record of him actually getting a PhD from that correspondence school. And that school was also known as a degree mill. From a site that I found from the mid-2000s that was about debunking a lot of this shit. So armed with the power to meditate and a mail order PhD, Dr. Gray builds his empire and sells his snake oil to the vulnerable. Something worth thinking about the next time you precede John Gray's name with the empty title of doctor. Drag him! Next part.
Men and women cope with stress differently. Men become focused and withdrawn, whereas women become overwhelmed and emotionally involved. During these times, men feel better by solving problems, while women feel better by talking about their problems.
So on top of essentializing and funneling men and women into these two categories, purely based off of his experience with his wife and maybe 17 dudes he interviewed, because again, something that Michael Hobbs pointed out that I appreciated was the fact that he claims to be a relationship counselor or expert or whatever, but there weren't that many relationships used in the book, versus when I read How Can I Get Through to You, the audiobook is cut down a lot because there are so many examples from the sessions that Terrence Real had outlining and adding more context and proof of his perspective and his just experience being a actual legitimate therapist, but I digress. Books like this, after putting you into the two separate categories, and if you're not in those, these books aren't for you. But after putting men and women into those two separate categories, it's also on the woman to make sure that she speaks a certain way. So an example from the book is they're talking about the difference between can and would. And a lot of men say, whenever my wife asks, can you do something? I think, sure, I could do it. But if they asked, would I, then I would. Which is so immature and so fucking childish. Like, it's just very childish, honestly, especially for a man that wrote this in his 40s. It's like, girl. He interviews something like 17 dudes in that one section of the book to explain why women should learn how to ask for things. And at the same time, he talks about the fact that women will sometimes manipulate men to get what they want, but he's made this whole book about how to communicate and get what you want, which seems antithetical to, which doesn't seem to compute, because communicating effectively doesn't always mean you get what you want. But anyway, through this can and would example, it's like when you were in school and you asked to use a bathroom and the teacher's all like, I don't know, can you? It's because you didn't say may I. This is something called tactical misunderstanding. You know what I'm trying to say, but you are asking me to spell it out for you so that you can treat it like you're doing me a favor. And they point out that this is something that happens in relationships with hierarchies, where somebody that is in the more dominant position, or sees themselves maybe, or tries to set themselves up in that way as in the more dominant position, will act like they can't understand what you're trying to say because you didn't say it the way they wanted you to. A tactical misunderstanding. And it's just like, girl, we all do it to an extent. I know we can all be a little petty and rude, but especially if you are in a family that subscribes to the idea that men and women are fundamentally different and the patriarch is the head of the house. How many of y'all actually comment below? How many of y'all have had instances like that with tactical misunderstanding, or stuff like the example that they use in the podcast, and one that I've related to as well, is a child asking their parent, oh, do we have any ketchup? And the mom being like, yes, in the cupboard. Meaning the child can go get it for themselves. Whereas the dad asking, do we have any ketchup? And the mom goes and gets it. Because the dad isn't asking, do we? It's, I want ketchup, where is it? Y'all see what I'm saying? Let me know if it makes sense. Let me know if you're connecting dots in your own life. All of this relationship advice, in heavy quotes, is not only propped up by refusing to examine the larger system around us known as patriarchy. Hello, hi, what's up? You know I'm gonna say it. She bring it to you every ball. But also, it operates from this dominator model as opposed to a partner model. And this is something that Bell Hooks talks about in The Will to Change. Dominator culture teaches all of us that the core of our identity is defined by the will to dominate and control others. We are taught that this will to dominate is more biologically hardwired in males than in females. In actuality, dominator culture teaches us that we are all natural-born killers, but the males are more able to realize the predator role. In the dominator model, the pursuit of external power, the ability to manipulate and control others, is what matters most. When culture is based on a dominator model, not only will it be violent, but it will frame all relationships as power struggles. So I've talked on this channel in a few videos about Paul B. Preciado's Can the Monsters Speak? And it is a speech to the Academy of Psychoanalysts. The way Preciado speaks of gender as a regime of sexual difference. Preciado throughout this entire book speaks about trying to find a way out of that regime. What others might call different modes of being, different ways of being who you are, who you believe yourself to be. Preciado speaks of their transition not necessarily as a step towards becoming a man, even though they are aware of how they are perceived by others, but as a step towards becoming more of themselves. Hormones as an assistance to that becoming. He speaks of the, quote, pleasure of childhood learning that can be found in the, quote, appropriation of a new voice, a new name, in the exploration of the world beyond the cage of masculinity and femininity that is a part of the process of transitioning. And the thing that I appreciated the most about this book, why I always revisit it, is because it's helped me understand that a lot of us are trying to find new ways of being ourselves and becoming who we are outside of the idea of what it means to be a quote man or what it means to be a quote woman. And that's scary to a lot of people that are observing it from the outside. Scary to the elder folks that maybe don't understand it, or even younger folks that are like, I'm not gonna make everything so difficult, blah, 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 blah. And again, this is not a huge swath of the population that is identifying outside of traditional socialization. But I wonder if more of us did, what kind of world would that look like? Some people might say, no, it's too confusing, it doesn't make sense, or people have to see folks and understand them through a certain way. But gender is just another lens. People subscribe to all sorts of ways of understanding people. People ascribe to astrology. You can't help when you're born, you don't control that. And I'm not going to say that they're completely wrong. Maybe because you were born in this time of the year, you have certain traits, or maybe it's just a coincidence. It's like the Myers-Briggs. Some people subscribe to that and others don't, or the Enneagram. All of these different things are ways that we try to figure out and become who we are or learn ourselves, I think. Sometimes it's easier to have a neatly checked off box of, oh, I'm a dude, so dudes like this, dudes do this, dudes blah, blah, blah. Or, oh, I'm a girl, girls do this, girls like this, yada, yada, yada. But those categories, at least from my observation, don't do much because they're just very general. And it helps more so others that are trying to perceive you and understand you, paint a picture of you based off what they know of what a man is versus what a woman is. And when they see someone that lives outside of that socialization or chooses to be outside of that socialization, it's a lot of figuring out, a lot of trying to understand or not understanding and being ignorant and scared and like, no, we don't want this. This is dangerous. And all I'm saying is, baby, we all in cages. You in a cage too. I'm just choosing to decorate mine a certain way. Okay, get into it. Books like Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, gender essentialists that be talking on TV and have their podcasts and all this stuff, even if they really believe in the stuff they're peddling, they're not, to me, providing actual solutions of what a free, liberated, loving, connective, partnered model of a relationship could be. They're just slapping more of the same on something, but asking one gender to do more work to realize that this is just the way things are. There isn't room for a biopsychosocial viewpoint of what makes someone X gender. Books like Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus promise better relationships by doubling down on this traditional socialization and fundamental difference between men and women. They can't keep the promises they claim by doing that though, because their promises are hollow and are not about real connection between people. They're about roles that you're supposed to fit into. And if you don't, you're ostracized. It's easier to understand gender essentialism than it is to consider everyone is different. Every person has a different, unique identity. People are not monoliths. And the idea of patriarchy looming over all of us, paired with a lot of other things, but we're just going to talk about that one for now. The idea that if you are socialized as a man, you have a certain role in this society of being the man, not just to women, but to other men. These people are out here selling this idea that by leaning more into the roles that were there before any of us got here, that we didn't decide to pick, that yeah, maybe there are going to be certain differences because of our genes, our socialization, all of that, instead of adding that into the mix. No, men are this way, women are this way. And that to me seems very restrictive. That to me seems very, I'm telling you what men are and what women are. And these people that are saying
it's not only restrictive, it's just like reductive. Like it's just wrong. There's many different types of people.
Saying that you can do whatever, be whoever, be gender fluid, be gender queer. They're weirdos and they don't understand and they are not mentally well and they're selling you lies. Gender essentialism is a way to... That doesn't sound very free or liberated or... It doesn't sound like it's giving to me. And low-key to Paul B. Preciado as well. The powerful constantly promise freedom. But how could they give subalterns something they themselves do not know? a paradox. They who bind are as imprisoned as they whose movements are hobbled by knotted ropes. Y'all, I think we are in a time period, and again, my own bias, my own perspective, so grain of salt, but I really do feel like we're in a time period where people are starting to do away with a lot of the ideas and norms and traditions that we've had for a while that don't seem to be serving us anymore, which I think is great because you got to know when to pivot, you know? And our identities aren't something at first that we necessarily cultivate. They're given to us. From the minute you're born, you're given your identity, whether it's an astrology thing or your sex or your race and all this other stuff. It's all these things of how others perceive you. And I think it takes a lot for you as an individual to then go, okay, this is how others have perceived me my whole life. This is what my socialization has been. This is the media I've consumed. Maybe my genetics are a certain way, but how do I see myself? And what can I do to become who I am, who I feel myself to be outside of the constrictions of these labels and things? And that's a very micro solution. I know I talk about not missing the forest for the trees. I'm a top down and a bottom up type bitch. So all of those things to me can be working at the same time. And I think it's important. I think when you model understanding how folks perceive you, but also standing firm in the identity you have cultivated and who you are and how you are, it's a good reminder to a lot of people that they can also do the same. And that type of person is somebody to me that seems more liberated because they're also not trying to tell me who and how to be. They're living by example of this is just who and how I am, and it's lit over here. And these are the things that I did to get there. And I live outside of these constructs. It doesn't mean that I am not aware for me that people perceive me or see me and they're like, Mari, that's a woman. I know, but mentally I feel a lot freer from a lot of these ideas. And I don't know how else to explain that. Maybe it's the panopticon, you know? I feel less watched by the watchtower. Because even if they're watching, I'm like, what's that? I'm kidding. Okay. If you want to check out the podcast, Leftover Millennials, check it out. Dennis and I have been having some really great conversations. We pre-recorded a bunch of episodes, so we're going to be releasing season 2 starting second week of February. If you want to get some merch, you can always change your mind tote, feed your plets, water your plets, and some pins. So definitely shop that if you want. The shit is cute, and our toes have zippers. If you want to join Patreon, I release my videos on there before I release them on YouTube, so the patrons get a few extra days to watch and comments and all that stuff. And be sure to check out Surfshark if you want to, because they support this channel a lot, and I really appreciate them. And I appreciate y'all. Give me some little hearts in the bottom if you want to. Sorry, I don't know why. Anyways, as always, be sure to feed your plants, water your plants, and remember that you can always change your mind because you can. And I will see y'all in the next one. Bye! Here we go. Better.
Amazing. Wonderful. Fantastic. Okay. I'm very tired, so that's gonna be it for me. I have a bunch of stuff to do tomorrow, so I will be back on Tuesday. Tuesday, isn't it? Yes, thank you for being here. Take care of yourself. Have a wonderful night. Later.
Drop boxes, I was like, conservative man. And like an old lady would be like, yeah, I'm a conservative. And I would fucking. I took people's drop boxes. I was like, are you a conservative, ma'am? And like an old lady would be like, yeah, I'm a conservative. And I would fucking deck her, take her ballot and just rip it apart right in front of her face. I was like, you're not allowed to vote this way in California. That's right, bitch.
reflection about what people cared about and the order in which they ranked it. So we have had a lot of questions throughout this time about new voters, people that hadn't been in there before that were perhaps not getting captured by the polling. So maybe this is a sign that we're going to see a little bit more of that tonight than we expected. We obviously don't know yet.
And you know what's missing from this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 top 5 issues? Democracy.